I know, you see.
Somehow the world's gonna change for me and be so wonderful.
That was just a little. That was just a little. Oops. That was just a little joke for you guys, my viewers, our viewers here.
Oh, are we?
Because
So have we started the podcast?
yeah, I
That
recorded.
was all part of it. Okay.
Yeah, it'll just start with
Uh,
us singing it, not the countdown. Should be.
all right. Hello and welcome back to Our Month in Film. I'm Zach.
And I'm Kevin, the builder.
Kevin the Builder. That's right. Kevin just purchased a big Lego set with his tax return, so that's why he's Kevin the Builder, right? Or just because you're like Bob the Builder,
Yeah, that's
just like
primarily the reason. I enjoy Legos. Gonna put 20% of it the return into savings. Spent about half of
that's
it
good.
on the Lego, and with the rest of it probably just keep it in my checking account.
Nice, solid strategy.
Got about 600
Um,
plus dollars.
600 in your checking account or 600 from the tax
600.
return?
So about 650. So for my tax return.
Ah, my tax return was like 500. So I would think yours would be more, but
All from Vincenzo's.
yeah, they also tax the tips, so that's probably why it was more. But anyways, well, we're back here. Kevin, should we have like an opening segment every week, or should we just always just jump into the films?
Every month. Well, I think yeah, we
Or
should
every
get a
month?
little warm up segment as we did in the past, and I think we discussed
Oh,
us both
yeah, right,
doing the
movie quote
trivia.
trivia.
Right. I mean, what do you have dementia? But I think
I
I could
kind of
try to
forgot that we did
do.
that.
I could try to do movie trivia this month. Give you some trivia.
You would give me the trivia? Okay, that sounds fun. That would be more fun for me, because then I could test my knowledge.
Okay. Should have pulled this up before, but I also should have thought of a recommendation for you because that's my month now. However, I think I have one in mind. I just don't know if you'll be able to access it, but if you can just watch it on one of those sites. All right. Hey Google, pick a number between 1 and 100.
Here's a random number. 8.
8. I'm all the way down at 100 here. Give me a second here, and let's see if... Okay, well, I think this one will be easy here, but for our March trivia, our quote is, "May the force be with you."
May the force be with you. Well, that actually, you'd think it's an easy one, but it's actually a hard one because it's said in multiple movies. So how am I to know which is the correct movie? I will say, as my answer is just Star Wars.
1977, that is correct. Star Wars, the original.
Yes.
The
All
one that
right.
started it all. Alright, well, good opening trivia. That was a
Definitely.
very easy one. Perhaps the easiest trivia quote in the entire world, arguably.
Arguably,
But that was
could
what
probably
Google
think of some
picked.
more recognizable ones.
Up there, maybe. I mean, definitely up there, no doubt. But thank you, Google, for picking that number. Well, I don't know. Should we just jump into? I'm not sure how long this one will be because certainly didn't watch nearly even close to the same amount of movies this month.
Well, I think
But
that
you
I
watched
watched
plenty.
more. I watched more movies this month, so it might be a
Yeah.
little bit of a flip-sided episode this month, where
Yeah.
I have more movies.
I only watched
All
3,
right,
but
you
we can
watched
get
3
into
movies.
only 3, and 2 of them were related to the TV shows I'm watching, and the only other one was just the recommendation. So very weak on
You
the
just
movies this
fulfilled the
month,
minimum requirement.
basically. But
All
I've
right.
just been in my TV shows and Arkham Asylum video game primarily. We can get into all that and more on this month's episode of Our Month in Film.
Our month in films. Sorry, I keep on forgetting it's called Our Month in Film now.
The
Oh,
March
by the way, did we
episode.
show the audience our new decorations?
Oh yes, and these are our new backgrounds, patented backgrounds.
For the audio listeners, guys, we taped up pieces of printer paper with our week in film or our month in film drawn on it.
A little bit of
So
an incentive for you audio listeners. Go on to the um, well, I guess, I mean, if you're on Spotify, does Apple Music, can you see the video on Apple Music or podcasts?
no, I
Apple
can't. I
Podcasts?
didn't know that there was a video
You
until
can't,
Mom
huh?
told me that she watched the
Ah.
video.
Yeah, it's available on Spotify. I wonder what Mom watches hers on. What she's.
I think it must have been Spotify because we talked about it, and I think she said it was on. She saw it on Spotify.
Yeah, I never got to finishing the channel because it had to be verified. Oh, it can't post videos over 15 minutes long if it's not verified, and it's under your channel. So I actually wanted to call you. I never got around to it, so we'll have to do that after this call. And you have to just enter like a code, and then it'll take a day to process, and then I can get the channel up and running this week, so we can have the
All right.
last month's episode and this month's ready to go.
That would be great.
Get that posted.
Yep.
But
absolutely.
By all means, take the stand. Is your episode today with all the movies that you watched. I'll just put this microphone down and listen.
All right. Well, thanks, Kevin. I mean, maybe we should break up some of the movies with you could talk about books you might have read or Arkham Asylum or whatever. But
yeah, definitely.
On I believe I watched 15 movies this month. I counted earlier, and I watched the first movie on March 2nd. I think we actually alluded to this in the previous episode because finished filming the first episode like on the 3rd of March, and so I had already watched this.
Mm-hmm.
But I watched
the audience
film.
got a little bit of a teaser of the films to come next
Exactly.
month, and the shows.
Something to bring them back. I watched the movie Horrible Bosses, and I think the reason I did is twofold. One, I like Jason Bateman, and I was watching Ozark, and so we were about to finish Ozark, and I was just in the mood to watch some Jason Bateman movies. And also, number two, I have a memory of when Horrible Bosses 2 came out, seeing a poster for it, and really wanting to see it. But I think I was too young at the time. So I decided I would finally watch the duology, Horrible Bosses 1 and Horrible Bosses 2. Watch them both on the same day. Excuse me, guys. Sorry.
Sorry.
I just got a tweet. I just got a thing that said adjust my volume. Oh, that's probably because of the burp.
Did you hear that?
I did hear that. Yeah, I heard that little drum roll.
I can be
Drum snare, whatever.
I can be like Zach.
You gotta bring the microphone up to your face.
Oh yeah, and thank you to Gamers for sponsoring this episode.
Kevin? Why don't you clip that lav to your Patagonia collar?
Well,
there's a clip.
I'm afraid that the episode's gonna have an echo. I'm sure the listeners are already laughing because I just mentioned it now, and the echo's been there forever. But there's an echo from your voice. I think it's coming from the microphone picking up my headphones. But
well, I think if you bring the lav closer to your collar, it might might be far away enough that it won't. Because when the mic is this close to your face, it kind of has a little bit of a like plosives, like it's popping. So I feel like it's almost too close.
See. I know last month you told me to have it right up here, and here was not good enough. But I'll do it.
Oh, did I?
Mm-hmm. Same exact jacket too, so. Because it's being blocked here. Okay. And how is that?
It's pretty good.
Sounds less good though.
It sounds more quiet. Yeah, I think maybe you should just return to the old format of bringing it right up to your face. I think that might be the only
Yeah,
way
I
to do
told
it.
you. Yeah, I told you.
All right. Well, anyways, that was probably not very interesting for the audience out there. But I watched Horrible Bosses and Horrible Bosses 2. I think they were both pretty funny movies. They were good classic comedy style movies, basically just for laughs, but they had good stories. They're about three. The first one is about three guys who hate their bosses and they're all friends, and then they plot to basically try and kill each other's bosses, I think. Is that right? It seems kind of crazy now that I'm saying it out loud as the plot of the movie, but I guess they were going to try to kill each other's bosses like strangers on a train style, where they take each other's bosses so that they're not suspected. But it's in a very comedic light, and well, Charlie Day is in it from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, right?
Mhm.
Charlie Kelly or Charlie Day? Charlie Day, right?
Day is the actor, yeah.
Charlie Day. Charlie
Yeah,
Day
how
is
was
in it,
his
and also
performance? Was he funny?
his performance was funny as always. He was basically just him as he always is in his like Always Sunny, just kind of silly, and I think he was pretty much playing the similar character to well, I mean, he's the same person, so obviously it feels like the same character, but to Charlie Kelly in Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Jason Sudeikis is also in it, and he's also very funny. I like Jason Sudeikis. Plays Tandy's brother on The Last Man on Earth.
Yep, that's right.
Um, so,
Did you ever see Ted
and
Lasso?
then I did not see Ted Lasso, no.
Yeah, I've never seen that one, but he's popular in that one.
Um, I just lost my ability to see your face. I got into a settings area. Mm,
That's it. Just press escape.
hold on. Escape. Oh, yeah. Got it. Okay. Okay, and yeah, the movie is good. Has a good plot. It's funny. It's not great. It's just a good, funny comedy. The actors are good. It does have Kevin Spacey in it. Um,
Cancelled.
yeah, definitely canceled. That guy was canceled. And then Jennifer Aniston is in it. Jennifer Aniston is Charlie Day's character's horrible boss, and Charlie Day works at like a dentist office, and Jennifer Aniston is a horrible boss because she's really sex obsessed. What's it called when you have an addiction to having sex?
A nymphomaniac, I think.
She's a nymphomaniac, and she's constantly trying to have sex with Charlie Day's character, and Kevin Spacey and Jason Sudeikis' bosses are just kind of assholes. But yeah, it's funny, it's entertaining, and I would recommend watching it if you're looking for a good, funny comedy that's low stakes and just fun, a good time. The second one was not as good, but it still had the same like spirit as the first movie, I'd say. So I still liked it. Just the story was not as good. In Horrible Bosses 2, they essentially become the horrible bosses, and they're horrible because the company that they started is at stake of going bankrupt. I guess actually they're not I guess there's an investor in their company that kind of screws them over, and then they have to try to fight to get their company back. That's the plot of the second Horrible Bosses movie. But they're both good, and I would recommend both of them.
Nice.
What do you think about that, Kevin?
What did you give these movies on Letterboxd?
Well, I gave the first one, Horrible Bosses 1, 3.5 stars. And I gave the second one, Horrible Bosses 2, 3 stars.
Nice.
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 And yeah, this day I was watching movies. I was just really in the mood to watch comedy movies, or just to watch movies, kind of. So I watched 6 movies over the course of 3 days, or 2 days.
Yeah, lots of just fun comedies. You just get into them. Only seen
Also
one of
on the
these.
second, I watched Zoolander, which I was recommended to watch by my friend Hector Dominguez. Um, and Zoolander is also really funny. Um, Ben Stiller's character, Derek Zoolander, is just really like entertaining and just comical. Um, there's a the best scene in the movie, I think, is the one that Hector showed me of set to the song "Wake Me Up Before You Go Go," and it's Zoolander and all of his dumb friends, because Zoolander is like this dumb model who's really like not self-aware at all. He's just really kind of dumb and self-obsessed. Um, and he has all these friends who are also dumb. And there's a really funny scene where they go to a gas station, and it's like part of a montage of them like having fun, like a day out on the town, and it's like wake me up before you go go, and then they pull into this gas station, and everyone's kind of like dancing, like really like over the top comical, and then they start playfully spraying gasoline on each other like this, like ha 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 ha, and it's like they're all laughing, and then Derek Zoolander goes to look at something away from the gas station, and then he looks back at them and he's like, "Oh, how nice!" And then they do a close up of a guy lighting a cigarette, and then the gas station blows up in horrible flames, and all three of his friends die. And then they smash cut instantly to a shot of three coffins all together in unison at a funeral, and they're all being buried together. So that was really funny.
It sounds funny.
I like that scene.
Nice.
Um, and there's a second Zoolander film. I might watch it sometime, but I don't know. I think it was just a mood there for 2 days where I was just really into comedies. So I don't know if I'll watch it anytime soon.
Gotcha.
And I gave it 3 stars. 3 stars on Letterboxd.
Three
From 2001. Zoolander. Also, Owen Wilson is in Zoolander.
Is he a model too? They're all models.
Owen Wilson is like his rival model, but they become friends by the end of the movie.
Mm.
Like Owen Wilson's character is much more of a spiritual kind of guy. He's more like a hippie kind of wellness guy, but he's also a model, or he's more grounded, I would say, than Derek Zoolander is. So there's a good character interaction there. But Ben still. Oh, and Will Ferrell is also in it. I forgot about that. I think Will Ferrell plays like some sort of like boss of the models. I kind of forgot. But yeah, good movie, good funny movie, classic comedy film that I had heard of for a long time, and I finally watched.
Nice. Yeah,
And then next,
I've heard of it. I never
sorry?
watched it. Yeah, same thing. I've always heard of it. Never watched it though. Should watch it. Sure, it's pretty funny. I know
yeah,
Matt Lauer
I
likes
think
it.
actually now I'm remembering. I think the reason I might have watched Zoolander and the next 2 movies were because they were on Apple TV Plus, and currently I requested for my roommate Ian to lock me out of access to all streaming services and social media sites on my computer. So YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Reddit, HBO Max, Netflix, Disney Plus are all blocked, but Apple TV Plus is not blocked because it's its own separate app within the Apple ecosystem, so it's not on Safari. So I could only watch movies on Apple TV Plus. So that's why I watched the next movie in this list, On the Rocks, which is an Apple TV exclusive.
I've heard of them.
Yeah, it came out like in 2020, and it's directed by Sofia Coppola, who directed Lost in Translation, I think. Yeah, also with Bill Murray.
Have you seen that film?
I have seen that film.
I've never seen that one. I should watch it.
Ian told me an interesting fact, which is that apparently Lost in Translation and the movie Her, directed by Spike Jonze, they're both basically about the relationship that Sofia Coppola and Spike Jonze had with each other from their own perspectives. That's what Ian said. I don't know if it's actually true, but that's what he said. So maybe the listeners out there could Google that and see if it's true. By the way, I forgot to mention, Did we mention that we have an email?
I
That
think
we
we
want
have
people to
mentioned
send?
it in every episode of our show thus far, even from beginning all the way back in 2020 and last month.
Yeah, true. We
So
didn't
if you
mention it at
do
the
want
start
to
of the
email
episode.
us, we didn't mention it
I would
today
like you. I'd
because
like
that's
the
what we
listeners to fact check me on that fact and then email me with a
Oh, if
well
we've talked about
cited.
it, yeah, you definitely didn't mention it today. So sorry if I went on that tangent, and that's all you meant. I also got signed out, so I need to get signed back into the account. But we can do all that after this. Days
True.
though.
Lost or sorry, On the Rocks was it wasn't great. It was like almost felt like an ambiance movie. Like it was a very moody movie. It was like a very like New York feeling movie, and um, it's kind of set in this time in the main character's life where she's going through kind of trouble with her husband, and they're going through a rough period, and she has like a little kid, um, and while this is going on, her dad, who is like a wealthy businessman, retired playboy, um, as I was just reminded from the letterboxed blurb here, he was a retired playboy, uh, retired businessman, really rich guy who was a playboy, is the correct way I should say it. And uh, he is visiting his daughter for the first time in a while, and they have this interesting relationship where they go around and drink alcohol and talk to each other about life. And Bill Murray is funny in it, but it's just kind of weird, to be honest, how like Bill Murray's kind of just like a misogynist, and he has all these like weird things he says about women throughout the entire movie. And I don't know, it's interesting. Um, I didn't. Yeah, I think the good thing about the movie, like I said, is just kind of like the New York ambiance, and it feels somewhat like grounded and like heartfelt. But I don't think the story necessarily is the best. I think the world that it kind of builds is a kind of an interesting, compelling world, but it's a lot of it is just kind of Bill Murray and Rashida Jones like going around hanging out in New York and like talking to each other. Um, but I don't know. It's okay. I gave it 3 stars um, on Letterboxd. So those are my thoughts On the Rocks, directed by Sofia Coppola. What do you think about that, Kevin?
Nice. Yeah, I've heard of that one. I heard it was pretty meh. I know. I heard about it on the Karst cast. They talked about it back when I was listening to that a couple years
Mm.
ago. But I said it was a pretty meh. Like like what you said, kind of just slow vibes, but not really entertaining. Kind of boring. But that's just what I've heard. Never seen it. Probably will never see it. Don't have any
Ta-da!
interest really. But
Yeah, that'll be one of those movies that's lost to the sands of time, and no one will remember existed in 50 years.
like
Speaking of movies
tears
that no one will
in
remember that
rain.
existed in 50 years, I also watched The Family Plan,
Oh
starring Mark
snap!
Wahlberg.
Shots fired at the family plan.
Actually, totally. Um, Family Plan is about a husband, who seems like he's somewhat of like an ineffectual guy. Like he's not very.
Here, keep talking. I'm
He
gonna
seems
get
like
water, but I
almost
can hear you. Sorry.
seems almost like just like a sad kind of a guy, but actually secretly he's just pretending to be that, because he's in like hiding, um, from his former life as like a hitman, basically. And he used to work for this hitman company, like a hitman for hire management company, essentially. But he wanted out of the life, and so he kind of has pretended that he's just a kind of a sad, not a sad guy. I mean, he's a good dad, but he's not like a he's not what he seems at first. He turns out to be much more skilled in fighting people. And I think they go on a road trip in the movie. I kind of forget the plot details. Dan Morgan is many things: a devoted husband, a loving father, a celebrated car salesman. When his past catches up to his present, he's forced to take his unsuspecting family on a road trip unlike any other. Yeah, so I guess they go on a road trip. I kind of forgot why they go on a road trip. But I think they go on a road trip because they're escaping the assassins that are trying to catch them or something. It was kind of just a forgettable movie. The plot was kind of, I feel like I'd seen it before. I feel like it was like the same kind of thing as like Nobody or like Taken almost, where it's like a hidden secret assassin type of character, where he's just like, it's like similar to John Wick, where it's just like scenes of him like mowing down 30 people, all armed with machine guns with like no weapons, like that type of movie where it's just like incredible martial arts and he's somehow not getting shot one single time. I feel like it wasn't very original. I feel like it's kind of been done before, and the characters were not very well written. There was like it had the two kids and a baby in the family because the family's all traveling together, and the teenage actors weren't the best. I didn't like their characters very much. They weren't well developed as people in the universe. I feel like it just wasn't very good or compelling or interesting, and I would not recommend watching it. I again only watched it because I was only limited to movies on Apple TV because I wanted to watch a movie, but I didn't want to rent a movie, and I didn't have access to any streaming services, so I just looked on Apple TV Plus and it was there, and I thought, hey, how bad could it be? And it wasn't horrible. It was not grating on my senses. I could follow the plot and keep along with it, but it wasn't the best. So yeah,
Sounds pretty bad.
don't watch it.
Yeah. Do you still have just access to Apple TV Plus?
I can watch movies on the TV,
It's
but
just
not on
you
my
have
computer.
it locked on your laptop.
I just have it locked on my computer. I could also watch things on my phone, so it's not like I can't access streaming services if I want to. But
Just spending too much time on Macs or what?
well, I spend a lot of time. I have to spend a lot of time on my computer anyways for school, and just to do a lot of I do a lot of stuff on my computer. That's not like that's could be considered productive or just useful to my life. So when I on the computer, it's much easier to just pull up Instagram or YouTube right away. Whereas with my phone, I usually keep it turned off and in my closet. I still keep it because in today's society, there are some things which frustratingly necessarily require a smartphone, such as going to a baseball game now. You can't, apparently, you can't even print out tickets anymore. You have to have a phone, they have to scan it, which I think is ridiculous, but I still keep my phone, so that's why I still have it. But for our audience, normally I have my flip phone. See? And the TV, I pretty much only ever watch it if I'm watching like something with Ian. I feel like it's much more of I feel like I really have to intentionally decide to watch TV to turn it on to get to the streaming service. Whereas with my computer, I can just kind of instantly pull up anything without even having to think about it. It's like an automatic thing. So, does that answer your question?
Yeah, it makes sense, especially with it being your main tool you use to do your homework and schoolwork and whatnot. You don't want to get distracted having it right there, just a click away.
Exactly.
Although it's still just
But
right behind you, but it makes
the one
sense.
the one social media I do keep is Letterboxd because I don't get
Of
distracted by
course.
Letterboxd. I used to actually
Yeah.
in class I would just spend a lot of time looking at Letterboxd instead of in like high school.
Me too.
But not so much anymore.
Yeah, I just usually look at it when I'm logging something, or if just see one of my friends talked about a new movie in a review, but no more than like 5 minutes tops, probably.
Yep,
Yeah, I just used to
same.
scroll Letterbox for a while, man, when I was like first getting into it.
Yeah, well, we're veterans, Kevin. We've had it for like
Oh
5 years.
yeah,
You've had it for like 6 years, or
since
more than that
2018, I've
maybe.
had mine. What's that? 6 years,
I think
right?
I
Almost. It'll be
I
six
think
years in
I think
August.
you got me into it pretty soon after you got it, right?
Yeah, Carson Runquist was the one that got me into it, and then I got everyone else I knew into it.
I got a lot of I got Luke Nassif,
Yeah,
Tim
yeah, that's
Manel,
fond of. Good stuff.
lots of people.
I got Corinne into it. She's the only one that I
Hmm.
recommended that still really uses it, but I got Mason one, but his is pretty much defunct. But anyways,
Um, yeah,
yeah, Mark Wahlberg's boring. I don't know why he still exists.
yeah. That's
Like
what
he
I was
made
thinking
Boogie
throughout the
Nights,
whole
but
movie. Like,
like I still haven't seen Boogie Nights. I should really watch it, but I hear that's good. But like everything else, and he seems so weird in real life, like this weird Christian
he
guy.
does
Just
seem weird. He seems
it's
like he's
like
not
making
quite
Boogie
human. He
Nights was
seems.
like the biggest sin of my life.
Is that what he said?
He said something like that. He's like, I deeply regret making Boogie Nights. It was horrible. It's like it's such a sin, something like that.
Really?
Yeah, he's a weirdo. Anyway, yeah, I don't know why he still makes movies, especially a family comedy. But anyway, Game Night is so much better. Let's talk about Game Night. I like Game Night. I saw this years ago, but I remember it. Very enjoyable.
Game night is extremely enjoyable. It's extremely funny. Um, and Todd from Jesse Plemons
Jesse
is
Plemons.
extremely funny, especially the first one of the first scenes where they come home with the bags of Tostitos,
Interrogating him about the discount on the chips.
and then he calls the Tostitos company and asks if they offer that discount. Um,
Yeah, that was funny.
but yeah, for our audience, Game Night is a movie about a group of friends who do these game nights every like week or month or whatever. And but one day, um, Jason Bateman's brother, who's Jason Bateman is the one hosting the game night. Jason Bateman's brother comes by and visits for the game night, and everyone likes Jason Bateman's brother. He's like a rich guy. Um, and after that game night, he invites everyone in the game night group to his house, and he sets up this elaborate, uh, like murder mystery thing done by a company that like fakes this kind of stuff. But very soon they begin to realize that it's not exactly uh, all fake, and that his brother is involved in some pretty dangerous people. And so they go on this big adventure, and it's a lot of fun and funny. And I think Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams, that's her name, right? They have a
That's her
good funny
name.
relationship in the movie. They have a good like back and forth, and they actually feel like a real couple. Um, yeah, it was just very well done. I liked how they had like different characters doing different things um, separately at times, and they would cut back between them. Um, and some of the other characters in the game night group um, weren't the most interesting, but a lot of them were pretty well like developed and fleshed out, and I cared about them. Um, and some of the characters were just kind of there to be funny. Um, but yeah, what did you think of game night, Kevin?
Hmm. Sorry, I'm eating a mini Reese's egg. I have from Easter.
Oh, nice. Did you buy that?
Yeah, I bought them for the apartment. I think only me and Ben ate them though.
Nice.
Um,
I'm getting another Sprite Zero Sugar here.
nice. Are those any good?
It's Monday, and every Monday I get $25 on my Flex card, and then I can spend money at the market downstairs, and I buy 3 cases of Diet Soda. So I got Sprite
Nice.
Zero, Diet Coke, and Coke Zero for the
Good
week.
selection. Sugar free. Good choices. Yeah, but I saw Game Night back in probably like 2018, I think. I think like it was like one of the first movies I watched after I got my Letterboxd account. First couple of months, I think. I feel like when I was like first starting to get into movies, and not just Star Wars and Avengers, you know. Um, yeah, but I remember Jesse Plemons, and I kind of forgot about the whole plot. I mentioned I remember like it goes awry. Remember they were in a plane at the end, but
Yeah, they were in a plane at the end.
I really have no memory other than I enjoyed it a lot, and I remember that chip scene. That's that was the funniest part. I remember. He's like standing up in his driveway. Jesse Plemons. He's cool. He was really good in Fargo season 2. But that's pretty much all I have to
Jesse
say.
Plemons honestly really is the best part of the movie. He really ties the whole thing together. He makes it work.
I don't remember much of his role outside of that. But
He's a policeman, and
Oh, I don't
he's
remember.
like he's secretly has his own like machinations that he's doing to try to get the group to invite him to game night, because he used to go with his wife to game night, but they kind of stopped inviting him after his wife died because they don't really like hanging out with him because he's kind of like a weird antisocial guy. But he like masterminds this whole secondary plot while the um, actual real plot is going on, and he manufactures a scene where he gets shot, and they all think he died, but actually he just had like a blood capsule in his mouth. But but that's what happens. Yeah.
I don't remember any of that, but it sounds funny.
Yeah. Understandable. It says here you watched it on May 5th, 2019.
Oh, I scared. Maybe I was underestimating or overestimating, I guess, either way. But
Yeah, 2019.
I think I might have gotten that one from Gina. I don't know. You have to check my tags.
That would have been senior year of high school for you, right?
You should make it easier to check your review of the film. Oh wait, edit your review. I guess you can. I like Jesse Plemons. May 5th, 2019. Yep. Yeah, well, I guess watch it on HBO. Not from Gina Video Depot. Yep, that would have been the last month of my senior year. Anyway.
All right.
Wow. So that's a lot good dense amount of movies within 2 days. 6 movies. Crazy. Is that a little bit of a Jason Bateman watch? You got 3 Jason Bateman movies in there because you liked him in Ozark.
Basically, yeah. I do like Jason Bateman. I think he's a funny guy. All right. Well, would you like to share something that you watched or consumed, some media that you consumed this month, Kevin? Besides a movie?
Sure. That's about halfway through your movies. A little less than halfway through your movies. So
about a third of the way through, really.
I guess starting back on, I think I watched this on May 1st. Was Extras. So I finished Extras this month. Finished up season 2. Started season 1 back in February. End of February. Finished up season 2 and then watched season 2. Finished up season 1 this month. Then watched season 2, and then watched the special movie finale. It's like a 20-hour, 20-minute long special.
Mm-hmm.
It was really good. It was a show created by Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant. They each episode, and the two characters are Maggie and Andy, and they're extras that want to have work. And the first season is they're just struggling to find get a line, and in the second season, Andy has his own show, and he's struggling with himself because he got a show, but it's kind of like a very hacky sitcom where he does catchphrases over and over and wears a silly costume and a wig and glasses. And the masses love him, but the best joke and one of the best episodes is the one with David Bowie. And it's a little bit like Curb Your Enthusiasm too. The last episode I said I watched it because Ricky Gervais playing himself in Curb Your Enthusiasm gives the DVD of the show to Susie. And Susie said, "This is like the funniest show ever." So I said, "I'll check it out." So I watched it in between season 8 and season 9 of Curb Your Enthusiasm to simulate the many years Larry David stopped making the show. But anyway, yeah, the best episode was with David Bowie. That's what I was saying. It's similar to Curb Your Enthusiasm because it has every episode is titled after an actor, and the actor just plays himself.
Wow.
So the Daniel Radcliffe one was funny too. They had Daniel Radcliffe playing himself, and it was like Harry Potter era, so it's probably like right maybe after Order of Phoenix they filmed that episode, and he was playing like a very douchey version of himself, and he carries around just a loose condom. That's just out of the packaging,
funny.
just a loose condom just dangling. He accidentally throws it backwards and hits this old lady in the face. He's like, "Can I have that back, please?" And he's like, "I'm gonna use this tonight." He's just carrying around a loose condom. But anyway.
He's like bragging to everyone that he's gonna have sex.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, and then his mom takes him and he's like, "We have to go, Daniel." He's probably like 16 in the show. And then he was trying to hit on the supporting main character, Maggie, Andy's friend. But she's probably like in her mid-30s.
That's funny.
16.
That sounds pretty funny.
That was a funny episode, but the other funny episode and the peak of his inner struggle, at least the funniest peak of the inner struggle, was with the David Bowie episode. He meets David Bowie in a little like exclusive celebrity bar, and then he kind of gives him a story about how he like isn't sure if he is happy with his decisions to get this show done that he created because the network is interfering and making it more kind of less intelligent than he wanted it to be. And then David Bowie starts singing a whole song about how he's a loser and he sold his soul. And then he's like and then the whole bar starts joining in. He starts like improvising the song. He's like, "Big fat loser, no, ugly loser, nobody's laughing, sold his bloody soul." And he's like playing it on the piano. It's very funny. It's like a 3-minute song. Yeah, it was a really great show. I'd probably give like the show a 9 out of 10 overall. It's like very like mid 2000s BBC HBO collaboration, I guess. But
sounds like
yeah,
I might enjoy it quite a bit.
Yeah, it's only 12 episodes, all on Peacock, and then the last episode, I just had to get a free trial of BritBox. You just get a free trial and cancel it within the same day.
Did you say BritBox?
BritBox, yeah, it's just this British streaming service.
Is that like Loot Crate?
No, it's not like Loot Crate. It's not physical. It's just a streaming service.
Every month you can get $50 worth of British-based paraphernalia for only the cost of $30.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, that's and then well, I guess I can talk about the. That'll be the extras show, and then I'll talk about the extras. The extra special series finale, which I watched on March 12th. So I guess that's my conversation about the show, and then I'll just talk a little bit more about the extra special finale, which is just another little episode, but it's like a really extended episode, 30 minutes, so it's just kind of a double and a half episode. But anyways, now you can continue.
Sounds good.
What do maybe talk about?
Sorry, I thought I was gonna burp, but I didn't.
You can talk about all the ones.
Gosh.
Up to Panther Panchali, and then I'll talk
Panther
about
Panchali.
something.
Yeah, I'll do. Go ahead. So, on the 5th, I watched 2 movies in my World Cinema History from 1894 to 1945 class. They're both silent films, and I enjoyed them. I I have seen enough silent films at this point where I feel like I can kind of enjoy them in the way that they're meant to be enjoyed, and pay attention to them, and and while these were two really good silent films, I must say, the first one was a Charlie Chaplin comedy, very classic Charlie Chaplin comedy about called The Idle Class. Um, Charlie Chaplin plays his regular character, the Tramp, in it, and he also plays character of this wealthy guy who's kind of like a drunk and married to this girl who is basically pulling away from him because of his drinking and kind of saying like, you need to quit your drinking, writing him notes saying, I'm not going to talk to you if you don't stop your drinking. So Charlie Chaplin is playing these two characters, and then the funny thing that happens is that Charlie Chaplin meets this guy's wife, and she thinks that he's his husband, and then they have all these hilarious things ensue. The other character that Charlie Chaplin plays, the drunk, gets stuck in a like a suit of armor, so that his head is covered. So that's why there's this confusion, because they can't see his face, so they think that that the Tramp character is actually him, and lots of silly gags. There's a scene where they're on a golf course, and it's just really funny physical comedy. I mean, it's the simplest but really effective type of comedy. And Charlie Chaplin is just really good at just being funny with his body. That's what he was so good at. So I really enjoyed it. This was a short film. I think it was like 20, 30 minutes. It was 30 minutes. And I thought it was really great. And I gave it 3.5 stars. And then after that, we watched another movie from 1927, which was the last year before, or sound movies. The first sound movie came out also in 1927, but this is like a very late stage silent film, and it was called The Unknown, and it was set in a circus, like a carnival, and the characters in it are like members of the act, freaks basically, and the main character is his thing is that he doesn't have any arms, but he can do all this stuff with his feet. Like he can like eat with a spoon with his feet. He can like light a cigarette with his feet, and he does this stunt where he throws knives at this girl, like just around the perimeter of her body, just barely missing her all around, throwing it with his feet at the start of the movie. And turns out that he actually doesn't have his arms missing. That's the big reveal early in the movie. His arms are not missing. He is actually this criminal who's like trying to hide this guy who's like strangled people basically, and he ends up basically he's in love with the daughter of the owner of the circus. He has this like he's basically in the friend zone with this this daughter of the carnival owner, and he basically gets driven mad by his love for her, and does all these crazy things to try and win her heart, such as actually chopping off his arms in the middle of the movie, because he realizes that she'll never love him if she finds out that he was lying about his arms. I don't have to explain the whole plot, I don't think, but the main thing that made the movie really great was the guy who acted in the lead role, who was named Lon Chaney. Let me double check. Yeah, his name is Lon Chaney, and he has a really interesting looking face, and he's known as the Man of 1,000 Faces. And he's played a lot of like monsters and people in masks and things, in
I feel
different
like that name
movies.
sounds familiar, but I'm not sure.
Sorry?
I feel like that name sounds familiar, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, it sounded familiar to me when my film teacher mentioned him, because he mentioned him in a way that was like, oh yeah, everyone knows who Lon Chaney is.
Everyone.
He was like, Lon Chaney's in this
Chaney.
movie.
Oh, Chaney.
And I felt like I had heard the name before, but he seems like he's pretty much just in a lot of silent films early from the like 20s, 30s. Looks like his most popular movie on Letterboxd is The Phantom of the Opera, 1925.
Never seen.
He plays the Phantom.
Did you see the video me and Ben made? I still haven't
the
seen your April Fool's video. I should watch it. I mean your St. Patrick's Day video.
Yeah, it's only like 4 minutes. You mean the Buddhism video?
Yeah, the Buddhism video.
I did see that video. I liked it very much. It was actually quite informative. Um,
Yeah, it was for Ben's school project.
I thought he just made it just for fun. Is he in a class on Buddhism?
No, I forget exactly what the class was on, but he just wanted to read that
Religion,
book on his own
perhaps?
time. Don't think it was religion. No, I know there were classes he's taking. I don't know them by heart, but I know if you mentioned them, I know which if it's not that one, and it's not religion. It's like sociology or something.
Got it. That makes
But
sense.
anyway, yeah.
Yeah, it was a good
The
video. It made
unknown.
me,
The unknown.
actually made me want to convince me more to become a Buddhist. I think about becoming a Buddhist more and more recently. There's a
Nice.
Buddhist temple in Chicago, because it's such a big city. So obviously they have all sorts of different religions. Um, so thinking about maybe I'll go next year, start becoming a Buddhist. Who knows? Anyways, like I was saying, Lon Chaney is the actor in the movie, and he just has this really just amazing expressive face, and he cries a lot in the movie, like very convincingly, and you can really it's the perfect actor for a silent film because he conveys like emotion with his face so perfectly. Um, yeah, I guess a good way to sum up the movie is it's kind of like about the extreme like obsession of this guy over this girl and this kind of mentally ill criminal who has a pure heart, though I would say, but is definitely kind of evil, driven mad. And I gave it 4 stars. It was really, really good. I was really invested throughout the whole movie. So that's my review of The
Nice.
Unknown.
The unknown. Did you hear about the unknown in the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory or the Willy Wonka factory experience? You plugged into
No,
the
what's
pop
that?
culture memes.
No, I don't think so.
It's a lot to explain, but someone made up the unknown as the enemy of Willy Wonka. He lives in the walls.
Oh, I see. What are those silly, funny internet things, huh?
But it's real though. Someone made a Willy Wonka experience, like a family walkthrough experience in Glasgow for $40. And then it's very strange. They covered it on H3, but it's just a very strange story
I see.
in Scotland. And they had this
I
guy dressed
haven't.
up with he looked like a Death Eater. He just like crawled out and scared the kids. It's like it's the unknown. It's funny.
I'm looking at it here on villains.fandom.com.
They have an article for him on the Villains Wiki.
Yep, looks like it. It says stalking the walls
That's
of
funny.
Willie McDuff's chocolate factory.
Right. Yeah, that wasn't actually Willy Wonka guy. It was Willie McDuff, I think. I remember from the H3. Yeah, very funny, very strange stuff in that story.
I haven't watched any full episodes of H3 Podcast since they did the content court on Aiden Ross. But I did see that Cam is leaving the show.
Yep, he had his last episode on Friday. I'm 2 episodes behind. I'm storing them because Hila is pregnant and they're gonna have the baby on Wednesday. Will be the last episode. So I've stopped after last Wednesday. They're live right now, but I'm not watching it. Storing.
See,
Anyways,
that's smart. You're becoming like an advanced H3 watcher. Like you're solving the problem that everyone always says in the Reddit of there's nothing to watch. You're planning ahead. All right. Shall we move on to the next movie I watched?
This one is Criterion. I recognize it from Criterion.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely a Criterion-worthy film. I watched this movie for
real Criterion.
for my what?
It's a real Criterion film.
Yeah. I'm saying it's worthy. I'm saying it's worthy of being a Criterion film. I'm saying it wasn't falsely appointed as a Criterion. It's a good.
After I said it, I kind of realized what you meant, and then.
All right.
I just look like a fool.
I was originally recommended this movie by my friend Hector also. He really enjoyed it. He gave it 5 stars, and he recommended it to me. And then pretty soon after, I realized that I was gonna have to watch the movie anyways for my film history from 1945 to present class. And so I watched it on March 5th, and it was, to be honest, an absolute masterpiece of a movie. I think it was told such a beautiful, such a human tale, and with such grace and such compassion, and it really, it just conveyed like the effects of poverty and how it affects people, and it's centered around this family of father, mother, and 2 kids, an older sister and a younger brother, and there's a lot of scenes where it's just the kids hanging out with each other or playing, and it's I don't know, it's just a very pure, like, innocent, or not innocent. It's a very pure film, especially with all of the children. The way that like a child's emotional state is really maturely conveyed. Like the children in the movie are really the main characters, and it's about the way that their life is kind of being affected by their circumstances. They're pretty much like the poorest family in this rural Indian village because their dad has dreams of being like a playwright, and he's always writing in his free time, and he just works like labor. He works as a tax collector as like his day job, but he doesn't make too much money. So they're poor, and there's just so many beautiful shots, so many like quiet moments of like background, like sounds of like river flowing or like birds chirping in nature. It's definitely has a lot of ambiance, and I know also, and I also could see very clearly that Wes Anderson was influenced by Satyajit Ray, who's the director of this movie and a lot of other movies. I read that on the internet, and I could also see it because there was a lot of the cinematography style of like kind of like panning very slowly and steadily, and also zooming, like snap zooms like that. it wasn't like anywhere close to constant like Wes Anderson does. It wasn't like an overwhelming style, but it was a similar like language, and I could see where he got the influence from. But yeah, this is, to quote Carrie Fisher, it's a film about family, and that's what's so powerful about it. So I gave it
Nice.
4.5 stars.
That's what you wrote
I
about.
would highly recommend it.
That's what you wrote about the family plan as well.
Yeah.
It's funny. Classic
I guess
quote.
I just,
Never gets
anytime I
old.
think of family movies, I just think about that quote because of Red Letter Media.
Very versatile. Nobody does it like them.
Nope. All right. Now, shall I move on to The Dark Knight, or do you want to talk about something?
Yeah, I can talk about something.
All right. Go ahead.
Can we talk about books too? Do you have any books? You said 3/4 of a book, right?
Yeah. Little book called, literally a little book called Free Will, A Very Short Introduction. This little.
Wow, that's pretty.
Very
It's
small.
pretty little.
You can see a quarter here for scale. It's not too big of a book as it is. It's like 123 pages. I am on page 81. I really need to finish this because this is like I'm becoming more and more interested in philosophy, especially this month. I've been listening to this YouTuber turned mainly podcaster named Alex O'Connor, who was previously known under the handle Cosmic Skeptic, and he is basically a philosopher. I would say like a yeah, he's like a philosopher, and also he has a theology degree, but he's an atheist, and he is interested in like basically getting to the truth of life and having, you know, leading a good life and a moral life and doing what's right, and also understanding what it means to be right and all those sorts of philosophical concepts. But he's also vegan, which is why I like him, because I think that if you're going to talk about ethics or philosophy, then you're kind of not being true to your true ethical compass if you're not actually vegan. Because I think most people, if they're really fully true to themselves and they followed through and always thought about what their actions were doing, if they didn't have the cognitive dissonance, then a lot more people would become vegan. So that's why I appreciate him. But anyways,
Are you saying you can't really be a philosopher if you're not vegan?
no, I'm saying that no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if your goal is to try to be an ethical person, try to do good for the world, or also if your goal is to like reduce climate change, if you're worried about climate or the environment, or really if you're worried about doing anything good in the world, I feel like one of the first things you should do is go vegan, because it's not like donating to charity where you make a donation. It's literally just switching how you spend your money on food. It seems difficult, but when you put it out, it's really just you just have to buy different food, and it's a simple thing you can do ethically, um, without spending too much money, and it's does a lot of good. So I just think that a lot of people have cognitive dissonance from the reality of the horrors of what the money that you spend on a perfectly packaged piece of meat actually goes into, and they never picture the blood curdling screams of the cows being corralled into little stalls where they get bolts shot through their heads, and they don't think about the industrial meat grinder that they literally indiscriminately toss freshly born chickens just getting their grasps on their existence in the moment they're born. And that's to produce eggs. I think if people thought about that, then a lot more people would be vegan. But people don't want to think about it. Does that answer your question?
That answers my question, yeah.
All right, well, I'm kind of getting off on a tangent from this book here. This doesn't actually have anything to do with veganism or anything. This is just about the philosophical concept of free will. Are you familiar with this, Kevin?
The concept of free will, or that book specifically?
Just the philosophical, the problem of free will. Why it's like a philosophical question that people try to
I guess not. I don't know about
solve.
the problem. And I guess I understand what it is essentially. I can do this. Nobody can stop me.
Yes. The basic idea of the basic question is, do you believe that you are really free when you're doing that? That you're really totally in control of what you're doing, or if you're actually just doing what you're predetermined to do, what all your circumstances in life have led you to be doing at that very moment, and that when you went blah, 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 you went blah, 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 because that was a silly thing that was something that you associated with being silly at a certain point in your life, and you thought the reason you did that is because you wanted to do something silly to show that you understood what free will is, because I was talking about free will, because you brought it up, because we started this podcast, because we're brothers, because so on, so on, so on. So that's the idea, that you really weren't in control of that, and you really just did that without. The idea is that you can't almost decide what you're going to decide to do. You can't really be in control, because like when a thought comes in your head, it's not like you're controlling that thought. It just pops up. Like it's not there's no like overarching control over what happens in your head. It just kind of happens. So, and that's supposed to be basically the idea of determinism, where everything is determined. But some people will say that despite all that we must have free will, because if we weren't truly in control of our actions, then we couldn't be held morally responsible for them. Like if we were to say that was true, that everything we do is just based on things out of our control, then we couldn't really honestly like hold murderers and rapists responsible, because it's like, oh well, it's just their upbringing or their circumstances that caused them to do that. It's not really their fault. So that's the opposing argument.
Yeah, Ben mentioned I think he was reading a book about it, and the very beginning he mentioned about this story, a horrible story about these couple guys that like broke into this guy's apartment and like raped and killed his whole family, and they said they couldn't have possibly done anything else, because that's what their nature was, and everything that they lived through led them to do that, something like that.
Yep, that's the idea. The solution to that problem, from the perspective of accepting that free will doesn't exist, though, is to basically just say, well, we're not going to punish you. We're not going to like whip you and like put you in solitary confinement for that, but we are going to put you in jail, but in a rehabilitative perspective of trying to solve whatever that deep trauma that they experience as a younger person that made them the person they are, to try and like solve that, work through that, so they can try to change. It's like the idea is to switch from a retributive justice system where you're punishing people to a what's it called? Rehabilitation. That's what I'm trying to think of. To a rehabilitation form of justice, where you're actually trying to get to the root of why they did that criminal thing, and try to get them to be a better person. So that would be the answer to that. So you could still hold people responsible for things, but only so that you can try to correct their behavior and try to make them better person.
Makes sense.
And yeah, I got a good idea of all those ideas, and I feel like I explained it pretty well. I wouldn't have been able to explain that at all if I hadn't read that book. So the other interesting thing is that it actually doesn't matter or affect our lives. We're still going to feel like we have free will, no matter how much we say that we don't, and even if we don't, we are the creatures that are reacting to those predetermined things. We're still doing the action of reacting to it. So we still feel like we're the ones doing it. We are doing it, but we're just not doing it freely. So that's the idea.
Makes sense.
And what books did you read this month?
Well, I finished up The Gunslinger. It took me about a week to read. The first in the Dark Tower series from 1982, apparently, on my Storygraph page. Here, I read the original unedited version before he updated it, and before the last 3 books came out, to match up with the canon a little bit more. But it's great. I loved it. It had illustrations in this copy. I loved it. I love Stephen King.
Haven't you already read that book, though?
In the whole world. Yeah, this is the 3rd time I've read it.
Wow, you must really like it.
Although it's
aren't
technically
there Stephen King?
You sound like Dad. This is technically the first time I read it, though, because the first 2 times I read the updated edition he published in like 2001.
I so
get ready for the release. This is the original with the illustrations and everything. So it's a really cool experience. Loved it. Loved the fonts. I think fonts really make a reading experience a lot better. It can, especially with Stephen King. I just love Stephen King and the way he writes. Can't wait to get back into this cycle the second time around. Go to the Dark Tower.
I think the reason I was shocked that you read it 3 times is because I guess I thought incorrectly that you were still going to following like your plan to read all the books in like in order, and like read all. I thought you were trying to read all of his books. You are
doing that. Yes, I am.
Is this part of it?
Yep, this was part of it.
Oh,
of course, this is part of it.
So,
this is one of his books, isn't it?
Well, I didn't. I thought that you had already read The Dark Tower. I thought you'd already read The Gunslinger as part of.
Well, I had my
else.
my first reading order to read just The Dark Tower, because that's really what I just started getting into Stephen King with The Dark Tower. But now I'm doing a full read along, which is just his whole chronological publication order, which is the full ultra extended complete Dark Tower reading order, because as you know, every book he's written ties into one another, and all things serve the beam.
Wait, so this is only books that tie into The Dark Tower, or is this every book?
Every book. Every single book.
I see.
Every single book he's written ties into The Dark Tower. Some more than others, which is my first reading list that I did back in like 2020.
Got it.
It was like a list of like 15 books or so. Now I'm doing every single book he's ever written.
How many books?
Starting again at the beginning.
Is that?
About 70.
Wow. And how many have you gotten down so far?
Let me check. I can carry this with me because the cord is so damn long. So far I've read Carrie, Salem's Lot, The Shining, Night Shift, The Stand, The Long Walk, Dead Zone, Firestarter, Roadwork, Dance Macabre, Cujo, The Running Man, Different Seasons, and The Dark Tower. So I've read 15.
Very good.
I'm actually currently reading The Stand right now, the original abridged edition. I read the uncut edition back in like 2019 and 2020, which is about 1,200 pages long. The longest book I've ever read. But now I'm reading the abridged version, which came out first. Back before he had so much clout, so they made him shorten it by about 400 pages. So I'm reading this little trade paperback edition now. Loving it. I'm on Part 2.
Did you buy that book from a bookstore?
Yeah, I
Or
found
is
it in
it from the
Dickens.
library?
I found it in Dickinson. It's rare. It's not. Doesn't. They don't publish it anymore. They only publish the new uncut complete edition. That came out in the '90s. This one's like the fourth book he wrote. Right after The Shining, he wrote The Stand. But it was a shorter version. But it's really, really good. Arguably the best book he's written.
Wow.
And it ties in heavily to the Dark Tower. Of course, the Man in Black, the main villain from the Gunslinger book I read, is also the antagonist in The Stand. But he goes by, of course, a different name in this story, as we all know.
Of course.
All the constant readers out there, not you, but all the listeners know what I'm talking about. I could go into all the books that I've read and just briefly, or I can go one by one. But
yeah, sure, go ahead.
Sure, just issues of Walking Dead, pretty much. I finished up volume 18. I'm reading volume 19. March to War. They're ramping up the war with Negan. Real exciting. A whole 12-issue long arc. The only two trade paperbacks that are in 2 parts is All Out War Part 1 and Part 2. And I'm almost on All Out 1 Part 1. We're on March to War right now, currently. We're ramping up. So this month I read issue 110, 111, 113. Hey, wait a minute. Where's issue 112? I guess I'll have to go back and fix that on my page. But I did read it. So I'm finishing up volume 19. I should read the last issue this Wednesday. Walker Wednesday on April 3rd. But yeah, Negan's funny. I'm now farther ahead in the comics and the TV show than I've ever been back when I was a.
So you're finishing teenager. Your complete read through of the whole series on Wednesday, you said?
No.
Next Wednesday?
I'm just finishing volume 19.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's all.
I see.
Yeah.
Very
But
cool.
I'm way further ahead than I've ever been in the comics and the show. Well, not way further ahead in the show, but further ahead in the comics. I enjoyed it a lot. It's a good story. Very long. I really like long-form storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
Especially I enjoy The Walking
lost
Dead.
In the world.
No, just because
get immersed.
Just because things come and go and change.
Uh-huh.
I especially like The Walking Dead because people can die and come in. New characters come in, they die. That's why I like tracking them. But it's good. I think Robert Kirkman can be a little too edgy sometimes. Sometimes the dialogue's a little cringy, but for the most part, the show is.
Does he have these characters say the N-word all the time, or what?
They've said the N-word a bit. In the earlier issues, yeah, like Otis said the N-word a couple times. Probably like a small handful of N-words in the total run of the comics. I haven't read the N-word since like issue 30 maybe, but.
I see. Do you track the number of times you see the N-word also, like you track which characters are alive and dead?
No, I don't track it. Just go, huh? Stephen King.
Maybe that could be a new thing you start tracking. Do you? Yeah, you know what you should do is you should start keeping journals of all the content you watch and just write.
Why would I do that?
Right, just a
I
record.
basically have a journal, but it's all digital. I have the dates of everything I watch.
Do you use Goodreads?
No, I use Storygraph. Corinne recommended it to me. It has a better app. It's a lot easier to use on mobile, which I do a lot, and it's nice and sleek. So I've been using that. I transferred all my data from Goodreads, but I use Storygraph now. I use Storygraph, TV Time, and Letterboxd. And of course, when Letterboxd finally gets TV shows, whenever that will be, sometime mid this year, I will spend a long time, probably take a whole weekend to transfer all my TV data to Letterboxd. It'll be very exciting. Put on some music. Depending on how difficult. I wonder what they'll do. I wonder if it'll be by seasons or episode or what. I don't know. Am I right?
That's a good question.
Very exciting.
I didn't even know that was happening.
Oh,
or I think I might have vaguely heard it, but I forgot that it was happening.
Yep. Whispers.
Stand in the place where you live. Guess he's going to the bathroom. I didn't hear that. Alright, well, I guess I'll go to the bathroom too.
Stand in the place where you were. Alright, guys, sorry for the dead air here. Just wrapping up my pee. Okay. All done. Sorry. Well, while Zach's out, we can start bag 2 of my Lego set number 4. Oh, I guess he's already back. Sorry about that.
Did you go to the bathroom?
Yeah, I did.
I tried to go to the bathroom, but my roommate, or my suite mate, Fei-Hong was in the bathroom. And I tugged on the stall, but it was locked, and then I realized he was in there, and then I said, "Oh, sorry."
Nice. It happens.
Doesn't happen for you, though, because you have your own bathroom. You never have to deal with waiting
Very
for...
luxurious. I've never lived on my own with a shared bathroom. It's very nice.
That's the...
Extremely nice.
That's the worst thing about living in this situation is that there's 4 people and only one bathroom. So sometimes I have to poop and someone's in the bathroom, so then I'll just go down to the second floor and poop in the
sounds terrible.
toilets right next to the kitchen or the dining hall.
Oh.
Just so all of our listeners know that.
Nice. Sorry, I was just trying to edit my Storygraph page here and fix it because did not have issue 112 on my head recently. But let me just finish up talking about the books I was reading. We got issue 112 in there. Yeah, he killed Spencer, which was fun. One of the citizens of Alexandria was trying to betray Rick and wanted Negan to kill Rick for him so he could become the leader. And Negan said, "You know what I think? You went behind Rick's back, who's actively looking for supplies for me. Meanwhile, you're here sniveling behind his back, asking for me to kill him. You know what I think, Spencer? You've got no guts." And he stabs him with a big Bowie knife and guts him, and all his guts fall out. He says, "Oh my gosh, I've never been more wrong in my life. They're right there." It was satisfying because he deserved it. He's been like sniveling about Rick for like 15 episodes. I mean issues.
Wow.
Because his dad was the one who established the community, but his dad died because he was weak. Rick's strong, and now the whole Monroe family's dead.
Wow.
But anyways, yeah, I enjoy The Walking Dead a good bit. Very fun. And then I also finished The Psychology of Money, which I read for about. Oops. Oh, here we go. Review? Edit? Who knows? Yeah, it was a book Dad gave me for Christmas. Written by Morgan Housel. It's pretty good. It's pretty informative. Lots of stories about finances and stuff. Definitely learned a bit.
What kind of things did you learn?
Really makes it sound like it's going to be really easy to just invest and be rich. It also doesn't. It explains how it's not easy, but it really makes it sound like I'll have no.
Well, it's easy
whatsoever.
if you have a big enough income and you don't spend that much money. Definitely is easy, but it's not easy to do those two things.
Yeah, as far as for what I learned, I don't know. I just like little tidbits. Like,
I think
like
that
everyone has different perspectives, and nobody really knows anything about investing, but some people are just really good at it. And don't fret. Lots of people pull out during market suffrages, market downturns. Say don't do that, and then also invest the amount of money you'll be comfortable with losing, pretty much.
Yeah. Those are good tips. I think I've heard things like that I think that's the good common advice. Don't panic if you're investing long term and you're trying to invest for your retirement. You shouldn't even look at what the market is at. You should just invest the same amount every month into your Roth IRA or your IRA or your retirement or your like 401k if you have a job like a salary job or whatever. And then just don't think about that money until you're 60 or whatever. Me personally, I think that I'm trying to become a teacher, so I could see myself teaching for not I could see myself not just desperately waiting to retire if I like it enough. So maybe I could have even more money when I retire if I do that. If I wait until I'm like 75. I just have to start exercising and taking good care of my body so that I'll be healthy and fit and flexible when I'm 75. And work on spinal mobility. That's supposed to be the key.
Nothing more important.
You know, old people have stiff backs.
Sounds horrible.
That's my biggest fear. I already have a stiff back now, so if I don't do something now, I'm gonna be like really decrepit when I'm older. But any other books?
Yeah, just still currently reading The Stand. The whole flu has taken everybody. Everyone's dead except for the people who are immune. And they're starting to get dreams about Mother Abigail and the Dark Man. And I just sat in my car for about 2 hours and read chapter 35, which was 30 pages long. Where
Hey,
Nadine and Joe.
The podcast.
What's up, Ian?
Still recording the podcast. Just taking our sweet time here.
Podcasting.
Oh yeah, just
Basically
telling each other
podcasting and the like.
what we did in terms of media consumption this month. I just talked about free will with Kevin. He told me about all the Walking Dead comic books he read this month, and the Stephen King books he read this month.
What Stephen King books did you read this month?
The Gunslinger.
Yeah, the Gunslinger.
And he's currently reading The Stand, which is like I think 1,200 pages long.
No. My version. My version's 800 pages.
His version is 800 pages.
They have read the 1,200 page one, but I'm reading the original one.
Chicken and I have barbecue sauce and I have hot sauce and I can make a chicken sandwich.
Nice. That could be
and
awesome.
And pickles.
And you have pickles. Can I have
you
one
should
of those
tell
pickles?
Ian that instead of eating a chicken sandwich, you should listen
to.
Yeah,
you can have one when I eat them.
You should tell Ian that instead of eating a chicken sandwich, you should listen to the discussion we just had about free will and veganism.
They sell those pickles downstairs too.
That would be too complicated of a sentence to explain to him.
Yeah,
they sell pickles downstairs.
What's too complex of a sentence to explain?
Well, it's not too. I know it's not too complex to explain. It's I could explain it, but it would take too long. That's what I meant. It's not worth it.
Just not worth it. Basically, it's pretty boring. Basically, and preachy.
And preachy, yeah. He was basically told me to tell you that you should not eat a chicken sandwich and that you should be vegan. But I try not to say that to people because I feel like most people don't appreciate it. He's vegetarian, right?
Yep.
He's vegetarian, but he's not vegan. He just recently went vegetarian. I've been vegan for like 7 years, but he just recently went. But like I say,
yeah, but I was vegan before Zach.
Usually people don't take kindly to what food they're eating being actively criticized while they're eating it, so I try to avoid doing that.
Tofu bites.
See, that's what you should avoid doing, like actively criticizing.
Right? Like it doesn't feel good.
It doesn't feel good now. We should both respect each other's.
What does this dude just eat soy all day?
Yeah, I just eat just straight industrial soy. Plump up my breast tissue.
Your breast tissue?
Yeah.
Holy shit, I think there's still feathers on this chicken.
Really?
Yeah, look at this.
Can you show it to the camera?
You see that?
I think it's just like. Actually, it might be.
Like a fried feather.
Wow.
It
That was really good.
Was a feather in your chicken
maybe-
sandwich?
Yeah, you want?
Slip it off.
Doesn't this make you miss meat? Look at this whole chicken right here.
The whole rotisserie there?
Yeah, he's just chowing down on an entire rotisserie chicken. Not
Nice.
actually, he's just making a sandwich.
Yeah, I didn't think.
All right.
And then
Uh,
the last book I read it about over the course of 4.5 days, is The Lake of Souls by Darren Shan. That's right, I'm still reading Search to Freak books, just like a series of unfortunate events. Never finished them as a child, and want to see what happened. So I read all the books. I'm on number 10 now. I've got 2 more to go. Don't really enjoy them that much. I'd really like to be done and just read Stephen King. The writing in Stephen King's books are so much better. Hardcat Molds discovered who he was, and it was very exciting. And there was a character named Spitz, who was kind of like Hagrid, and he was an alcoholic.
That's interesting.
I had a UK edition I got from the library, so everything was like Maneuver had a whole extra E in it, and everything.
Do they occasionally just put the word governor in there, just in random intervals?
No, that's funny though, chap.
Last night, Kevin, I was laying in bed trying to go to sleep, thinking about all sorts of things, which goes back to the conversation about free will, of thoughts just popping in your head without your control. But I was trying to go to sleep, and one thing I thought about was the fact that I'm not as interested anymore as I used to be in watching the H3 podcast, and I think there was a time where I would have felt sad that I was missing out on episodes, or I just feel like I was missing out, and I wouldn't want to do that. But then I realized that it's kind of useless to do things that you don't actually enjoy doing, even if you have planned to do it. So
That is crazy.
That's just crazy to say.
Name? What is that guy's name behind you?
Oh, that was just Ian holding a chicken.
No,
he just said it was.
I was saying the chicken was crazy.
He said that. He said that was crazy when you held the chicken up.
Yeah.
He's gonna have sex with the chicken, he says.
Would you get necrophiliac if you have sex with?
I think you would actually be doing bestiality and necrophilia at the same time.
Yeah, that'd be a double feature.
Double jeopardy. That's what they call it.
Double whammy, fuck a dead chicken.
Yeah, that's what Ian is talking about.
We should start a podcast about what's necrophilia.
I think that would be a pretty short podcast. We can just define necrophilia,
Yeah, we could do that
and then
right
it'd be
now.
over.
But really, what is necrophilia? And that's what the podcast is about. Really take a deep dive and ask the question.
Every week we have in-depth
necrophilia?
conversations with experts in the fields of necrophilia to really get to the bottom of what exactly it is.
Necrophiliacs, psychologists that study necrophilia.
We interview active necrophiliacs, reformed necrophiliacs.
We come to the conclusion if I had sex with that chicken, it would be bestiality and necrophilia. Who the fuck are you talking about?
Ian having sex with a chicken.
If I had sex with that chicken, it would be bestiality and necrophilia.
It wouldn't be necrophilia if it was an alive chicken. It would still be bestiality.
Gotcha. Well, like, is it still bestiality?
Well, what if I fuck it so hard I kill it?
But then, wait, but like, I feel like bestiality. It's like a living thing. Like as soon as it's not living, it's just kind of an inanimate object. But it's like still fucking chicken.
Yeah, it's an animal.
But it's bestiality is having sex with an animal.
And it's still an animal.
Yeah.
It's just a dead animal, therefore it's necrophilia.
Therefore, it's bestiality and necrophilia. Checkmate.
It's both, yeah.
I wonder if it's necrophiliacs influence.
Huh?
Like alcohol and all of this.
There probably is.
The people that like.
Well, I feel like that's such a niche. Those things.
Get together and talk about it.
They're probably like extra anonymous.
Yeah. Google search necrophiliacs anonymous.
Right. Eat me out my desk. This is what they made this desk. Let me get that breath.
All right. Well, shall we continue our podcast conversation, Kevin?
Yeah, that was a fun little tangent. That was funny. Like,
All
I'm doing
right.
my
So
legacy.
you watched these. You read
So
the
what-
Cirque du Freak
what were
book.
you-
Do you
were you
read these
finishing
books?
up- Were you finishing up a thought telling me I shouldn't read the Cirque du Freak books that you were leading towards? This is the point of your lecture?
I was just sharing my emotional journey with doing things that I overcoming my fear of
Nice.
of
Stop
missing out
watching the H3 podcast.
on losing interest in a certain thing and then fearing of missing out on it, but then realizing that usually if I lose interest in one thing, then it's kind of because I'm replacing it with another interest, so it's kind of like moot.
Nice.
But I mean, you are really close to oh my god, you are really close to finishing it, so
Yeah, and I've
only
been
two
doing
books
it.
away.
I've been doing it spaced out, actually. Spaced out, so I don't lose my mind.
Where
my barbecue
sauce?
The stand is split into 3 sections.
Oh my god.
So I read book 1 of the stand, and then read Cirque du Freak, and I'm reading book 2 of the stand, and then I'll read Cirque du Freak, and then read books 3 of the stand, and then read Cirque du Freak, and then I'll be done with Cirque du Freak, and then I'll
I
read
see.
Christine. I can't wait to read Christine.
I see.
But anyway, that's it. Those were all the books I've read this month in film.
Very good. This month in film, correct. All right, now
go ahead.
shall I continue my discussion of the
Yeah, and
Dark
this
Knight?
This is perfect because the reason I haven't really watched so many films this month is because I just got into a real Batman phase again. About the first half of the month, I was just playing Batman Arkham Asylum on Ben's Nintendo Switch because the trilogy was 40% off. You got 3 AAA games for only about $40, I think.
What is a AAA game?
It's like a big studio release, unlike an indie game. GTA,
I see.
Batman, anything that's popular, really.
It
Most
says it's an
things-
informal classification.
Yeah. Informal. Big,
Um,
big budget $60 game. Anyway.
It feels wrong to just
Yeah,
have
so I-
chicken on my desk, but I don't really
So I've been
have
playing
any other way to do
Batman this
Can't
first
wait
half
to
of the
have a
month, and then the
kitchen.
second half of the month I started watching Batman the Animated Series. We can get into that. But
nice.
perfect because now you can talk about The Dark Knight, which I've not seen in a couple years, but is good. But go ahead.
Hey, actually,
Sorry.
me and Ian watched The Dark Knight together. You should come in for just this discussion of The Dark Knight.
I was plugging it, or
Yeah, I'm unplug the headphones.
but it might change the audio. Better.
Can you still hear, Kevin?
Yeah, it sounds fine. Well, the problem is my audio is on the desktop now, so. But I can honestly hear. Yeah, I heard that whole discussion about necrophilia, just fine.
Yeah, but
So,
but Ian wouldn't be able to hear you is the problem.
oh yeah, true. Guess you can huddle and have one ear, but in
This
each
is
ear.
Ian's first time seeing The Dark Knight, so I think he should
It
share.
was not my first
Really?
time
That's-
seeing it.
I thought it was.
I saw it when I was like a little kid.
Oh, since he was a little
Like,
kid.
remember it.
Since he was a little
Okay.
kid.
Since he's been sentient.
So Ian should quickly share his thoughts on The Dark Knight, right, Ian?
Okay.
Probably best Batman movie. I don't know. I think it's the I don't know. Good Joker. Good performance from
Good
Heath
Joker,
Ledger. I liked it.
Did you like The Batman from 2022?
Huh? I haven't seen it.
That's my favorite Batman movie.
Wow, you like it better than The Dark Knight, huh?
Definitely.
Well, you know,
Much
I
more vibes.
I've seen The Dark Knight a lot of times, but this time I watched it, I picked up a lot more on sort of the moral themes of it, and I understood a lot more of the Joker's kind of philosophy of just trying to of thinking that the world is just a sick place and it should just be destroyed.
Yeah.
and I understood more of the inner workings of all the crime that goes on, and the fact that there's like a mob. When I was a kid, I never understood like who the people that the Joker was like slammed the guy's head into a pencil.
Uh-huh.
I never understood who that group of people is, but it turns out it's like the mafia, and they're like the organized crime, and the Joker is basically the anarchist, crazy crime, and I liked Harvey Dent's character a lot more than I used to. I understood. I feel like this time I watched it, I just really understood it more. I think it's just I understand more about the world now that I'm older, and so I feel like I just naturally just kind of understood a lot of the themes of it. So I enjoyed it more for that reason. But obviously, I always enjoy the great action scenes and the incredible Batman technology and the tumbler and all those sorts of things.
And the
Those are also
soundtrack.
fun. What?
And the soundtrack.
I'm gonna put back in my headphones.
Not to mention the fantastic soundtrack composed by Hans Zimmer.
True. Not to mention the last part of the movie when Commissioner Gordon goes, he's the hero we need. He's the hero we deserve, but not the one we need right now. And then he goes like, we'll hunt him. And then he goes, silent protector, watchful guardian. And then there's a beat, and he goes, the Dark Knight. And then it dramatically cuts to the title card, and then the music comes in. That's just awesome. That's just quality filmmaking right there.
Good filmmaking, yeah.
You can just let it out.
But yeah, what is there to say about The Dark Knight that hasn't already been said? Really good movie. And I gave it 4.5
Good movie.
stars.
Very interesting that Christopher Nolan made these movies. Seeing as he's so, he's such a real filmmaker, shoots on film and everything.
Yes, that's
He
true.
really took the superhero and took it to a very grounded level, and yet elevated it. That's why I like the Batman more, because it's like more vibes, better like ambiance, but like the Dark Knight is much more just takes place in the real world.
True.
But the Batman takes place in Gotham. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. The Batman definitely feels more like focused on Batman as a character. I think the Dark Knight, like Bruce Wayne as a character, is not even that. His main struggle in it as a character is like his wanting to be girlfriends with Rachel. That's pretty much all his conflict is. Other than that, he's kind of just like the guy that does the right thing and just serves as a I feel like the Christopher Nolan movies, you don't get as deep of an insight into necessarily the deep character of the Batman, but you get more of a overarching societal things, tales, things like that. It's not really necessarily about the Batman. It's just it's almost like a movie that about Gotham, yeah.
Nice.
What did you think about the Batman the Animated Series TV show?
Yeah, I guess we can transition to that. Over the last month, I've watched. Over the last month, I've watched. Actually, I watched 2 this morning, but I watched 53 episodes of Batman the Animated Series this month. It's really great. It's really, really great. It was Kevin Conroy's first role as Batman, Mark Hamill's first role as the Joker. Of course, the 2 most iconic actors in those roles, in my opinion. And of course, rest in peace, Kevin Conroy. He died recently. And now Mark Hamill won't play the Joker anymore, he said. But speaking of going really into Bruce Wayne's character specifically, Batman the Animated Series does it really fantastically. It really has a lot of time to just explore different little things, and really spends a lot of time with Bruce Wayne. He's a really nice guy. And I really love the animation. It's mid-90s. It's very classic. The best part is the title cards. Each episode has a title card, very, very kind of like noiry, like classic, like feels like a classic, like black and white title card, like a detective show or something. And I guess it's a Art Deco, Dark Deco art style, which I learned recently. But the whole art style is really great, and just it's really great all around. And the writing's very mature. There's a sense of the children's show, but there's just a lot of times where I'm surprised. I'm like, wow. And I had a very odd experience because when I watched the episode The Underdwellers about this guy named the Sewer King who has a bunch of like child slaves underground. Lives with a bunch of alligators, and I thought I'd never really seen this show before I watched it. Thought maybe I'd seen like a couple like on Boomerang or whatever growing up, but I knew I never like actively watched this out. The one I knew I watched was the Batman, and I actually went on Max.
The Batman.
And I went on Max and checked out the Batman and found the Laughing Gas episode, and I watched the theme song. And I said, "Wow!" And he went, "The Batman," and I went, "Ah!" Remember, because we did that.
I do remember that. What was the show where the Flash goes who, what, where, when, why?
I think that was the Justice League, and that's I'll get into that. But I learned the Justice League is way down the line of the DCAU. They're all connected, I guess. So Batman the Animated Series is the first one. There's 85 episodes of that, and then you watch Superman the Animated Series, and you do a couple of crossovers. I guess I was reading a lot of people say the DC animated universe is the best on-screen DC stuff. So I'm not sure if I watched the whole Justice League because I'm not really interested in any of that. I really only like Batman. He's really the only superhero I really love. But if it means I can watch more Joker and Mark Hamill Joker and Kevin Conroy Batman, perhaps I'll watch it. Might watch it on the treadmill. It's really the only time I'd be interested. But with Batman the Animated Series, I love just sitting down and watching it. Every single title card's great, and yeah, it's really like a 9 out of 10 show overall. Maybe 10 out of 10, 9/10, kind of. I just really love Batman. Now I have this Lego set, and I didn't start watching the show because of the Lego set actually, which I've done before. Actually, well, I did with Seinfeld, but not really. But anyway, I started watching the show, and then like a week later they announced that the show was coming out. I was like, wow, that's awesome. But now I have it. But anyway, yeah, I really love it. And then they have a couple of movies. Mask of the Phantasm is the one I watched, which we can get into a little bit later because I watched that one on the 26th, and we're only on the 10th now.
True.
But yeah, there's just a lot of great side stories too, like the one about the crime boss whose like brother is estranged from him and is a priest now. So it's never too late, I think was the episode title. Very nice. There's a lot of like side episodes too. A lot of them are just like an episode with the Joker or an episode with any random rogues gallery villain. But a lot of them are just kind of side stories too. A lot of them are really great. That's where a lot of the heart lies. And the soundtrack is really phenomenal too. Shirley Walker, I believe, is her name. She composed all the music. She's really great.
Is that where the Lego Batman dun 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 dun?
Well, no, that's from the Danny Elfman. Danny Elfman did the theme song for Batman, and the Lego Batman intro is kind of like tributing the Batman the Animated Series intro. But Danny Elfman composed the soundtrack for the Tim Burton movies, but they used a little bit of the song for the animated series theme song and outro theme song, but for the actual show itself, it has its own original music, and it's very motify. It always comes back in like different little variations of the songs. Whenever the Joker pops up, he has his own song. It's really nice. Mark Hamill's really awesome as the Joker. And a lot of the voice actors cross over from Arkham to Batman animated series, so it's nice. Recognize them. Really love Batman and his rogues gallery. Don't really care about any superheroes besides that at this point.
Is the show serialized or episodic?
It's for the most part highly episodic, and they are completely out of order on Max. I guess the production order is different from the airing order. So when they aired it back in the 90s, the studio just kind of aired it in whatever order they pleased. It wasn't really the order the creators made it in, but it doesn't really matter because it's not really serialized like you said. But there's been a couple instances in a few episodes where they call back to a previous episode. Like the Day of the Samurai is kind of a sequel to Night of the Ninja, even though they don't do it in part 1 and part 2. There's a couple part 1 and parts 2s, like the origin stories. Clayface has a part 1 and part 2 episode, and Two-Face. Robin had a really good one about his backstory with his parents and him trying to kill the guy who killed them. Really great episodes, lots of great stuff. It's all around really great. Yeah, but that's pretty much it for Batman the Animated Series.
I actually believe I watched like a...
Loving it. Oh yeah, wait, I didn't even mention the Underdwellers thing. I was talking about that and I drifted off somewhere. But I've always had, like you were saying, the Flash Who, What, When, Where. That's kind of just like lives in my head. It's just this little snippet in my head. I just think of that sometimes. But it's the same thing. Do you remember? I don't know if you were there watching with me, but I just always remember this thing of like this little villain underground saying, "Children are meant to be seen, not heard." And I've always like just popped into my head sometimes. Then I was just popped on this episode of the Underdwellers, and then the Sewer King said that. And the episode started being like, I started showing like shots of like children being underground in the sewer, and I was like, wait a minute, is this the episode?
Is that good?
And then he said the line, and I was like, wow. But that was just me, I guess. You don't have that line in your head like the Who, What, When, Where. If I remember, it's Flash said something with Who, What, When, Where. Just strange that we both remember that. But yeah, that was strange. Right before the episode started, I was thinking of it. And then I watched the episode. And I was like, whoa.
All right. Well, sounds like a good show, and I think I watched.
Yeah, you've definitely seen some episodes.
The show.
We've both seen a bit of it growing up.
And
sure.
That would be a good movie. If I ever get into a place where I have a good daily routine like you do, then perhaps it could be a good show to watch one episode of every night or something like that.
Definitely a good daily show. I just can't emphasize how much I love the title cards. Those are the best. Each art is unique. I love them. They're so good. The Laughing Fish was the only one that was different. All of them are just a static image, very like, I don't know how you describe it, but just very nice detailed paintings. But then one of them was a video of the joke, the Laughing Fish. It was just showing a video of the store, and then it said the title card and then panned away. Very cinematic. Very cinematic.
I'm seeing it right now here.
What's that?
Seeing some of these title cards, and they do look quite cool. I must agree. I would encourage our viewers at home to go look up the title cards for themselves to admire how cool they are. Wouldn't you, Kevin?
Yes.
Would you agree that meditating is like mental edging?
Yeah, the On Other Wings one, that's nice.
No,
oh, that's nice.
I don't know. Actually, I don't. Maybe, but I'm not processing the connection. So, I would say it's more like mental abstinence, really.
It's like mental gooning.
I don't know what that is. Gooning? Is that just slang for nothing?
Talking about gooning.
Oh, I see. Gooning may most simply be defined as that state usually achieved after a prolonged edging session when a man becomes completely hypnotized by the feeling radiating his penis. Wow. Sounds nice. It is. I guess it is sort of like a meditative. You're just really trying to control your penis. You're not trying to let your penis get the best of you. You're in control of your penis. You decide. You decide how it feels. All right, should we move on to the discussion of the next movie?
Yeah, Magnolia. Magnolia time.
Yes.
Or
I
Magnolia. Actually, I got to talk about extras. The extra special series finale now. It's my turn.
all right.
Going to our system, which only works for movies. TV shows is different. We just throw them in willy nilly. Which also you would need to talk about your TV shows. I did not think this episode was going to be long, but it's almost going on 2 hours now. But anyways, extras, the extra special series finale. He's dressed up in a Christmas tree kind of outfit. He's got just lights all around him. But I don't really remember this being too Christmassy. I guess it was, but don't really remember. Just talk about this briefly because I already talked about extras. But yeah, it was really good again. You know, it's just really an extended episode of the show, and it actually made me emotional. I got a couple tears dripping down my face. There's a couple moments in the show which are really actually grounded and emotional, which makes it good. Kind of like Ghosts too. You just have a couple moments. The moment at the end of the special finale was when Andy Millman was crying. He was on Big Brother, Celebrity Big Brother, UK edition, and he was talking directly to his friend through the TV show. He's like, "I'm sorry, I was mean to you. You're my best friend. You're my only friend." And Ricky Gervais is a good actor, so I was getting all teared up. But yeah, honestly, don't have much to say about that. Don't remember this movie specifically too well, but Extras as a whole is a really great show. Really like it. Andy and Maggie are nice. Not the best people, but for the most part they're nice. You know, they're human. What do you want from them? And this is the progress of my build so far. That is back to. I have this.
Wow, you've been building your Lego this whole time?
Yeah. You haven't noticed?
I didn't know that.
And I
Wish I had a Lego to build, although
I have a bunny and a chiclet here. Where's that
Very
robot I
cool.
bought you for Christmas?
It's up here on my.
Nice. Oh, very cool.
It's right next to Luke.
You got the box too. I can't believe you kept that.
Yeah. Well, I had to keep the box because it has all the extra pieces, so I can.
Of course.
So if I need to change out the pieces, and also I transported it in the box so it didn't get
Very
destroyed.
smart. Do you
Yep.
ever rebuild it into a different build, or just keep it as a robot?
I haven't yet, but maybe one day if I have a bit of free time, and I'll do that. Although
Nice.
it would really just be more fun if someone else would unbuild it for me. It's kind of a pain to unbuild it, but
It's not too.
not
it's
actually
too
that
much.
big of a pain. It takes like a couple minutes.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just over dramatizing it. I only watched one TV show this month, which was Ozark. We just finished it, but maybe I could discuss that after a couple more films.
No Avatar. No Avatar.
No Avatar because Ian's
Hmm.
Netflix logged out because he's not within his parents' Wi-Fi anymore for some I don't know why that didn't happen earlier, but he can't access Netflix anymore, and I can't either, so we can't watch it.
That's too bad. I tried to give you my password, but I think it'll do the same thing.
Yeah. Yep. Netflix is really cracking down on those things.
Fuck Netflix.
Exactly.
Man, I guess I'll have to lend you my Blu-rays or something.
You're gonna have to FedEx overnight ship your Blu-rays to me immediately so we can start watching Avatar.
You don't probably have a disc drive, do you?
Ian has an Xbox 360.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Although it wouldn't play Blu-rays, would it?
Yeah, I think Xbox is just DVDs.
Yeah.
So antiquated. All right, go ahead. Talk about Ozark. You finished the show, series finale, all done.
Yeah. I think that it was overall a pretty compelling, good show. I think that the area it struggled was in creating a more overarching narrative with deep character interactions and deep character growth and things like that. There were good. The characters were interesting and compelling to watch, and a lot of the characters were really well developed, especially Ruth Langmore, who I would um, simplify an explanation of her character by saying she's kind of like the Jesse Pinkman of Ozark, in that she's a criminal, but she's really less like a victim of her circumstances and kind of went on a bad path for a while, but wants to be good. So she's kind of like the most compelling, relatable, or not relatable, but like you want to root for her type of character. But so there were times where they sort of developed certain things, not fully, or they almost hinted at some plot line or some new character thing, and they didn't really follow up on it. But I think it's really good at just creating really exciting, gripping, intense, like thrilling episodes. Like especially in the final season, there's like something like there's something happening every episode. There's a lot of I think I read the term like murder and mayhem show. That's kind of what it is. It's just a lot of people die. They bring in like a couple new characters every season, and um, kill off a lot of the characters. Um, but I really enjoyed it, and I had fun watching it one episode a night over the course of several months, which I don't think I've literally ever done with a TV show where I've paced it out because we watched
That's
it
the best way to do it.
as a yeah, I mean I agree.
No,
Not
that's
good for
binge watching.
not good for your mental health. Any sort of binge is not good, no matter what type of binge it is.
Although that's what I've been doing with Batman the Animated Series.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, I would definitely recommend it. It's a good show. Not a perfect show, but a good show.
What would you give the
And
show overall out of 10?
I would probably give
If
it
you
8
could.
out of 10. 8.5.
Could you rank the seasons?
I'm kind of blurring season 2 and season 3 in my heads. Well, I would say I think season 4 was probably my favorite. I liked how it wrapped up. But actually, as the show went along, it really got away from itself, and it started out more grounded. It felt like the show begins in Chicago, and Marty Bird, played by Jason Bateman, ends up having to move his whole family to the Ozarks in order to save his life, stop himself from being killed by this drug boss who he's laundering money for. He makes this crazy promise to launder a crazy amount of money for this drug boss, and he moves his family to the Ozarks. And then it's all from their perspective at first, and then we slowly meet different people in the Ozarks, and we meet all the different other criminals that are natives of the Ozarks, and we meet like the Kansas City mob in the second season, and so the world just gets bigger and bigger, and some of the plots get more fantastical and more fantastical as it goes along. But I think season 4 was the best. We are talking about Ozark.
Yeah, that show's great.
I kind of missed the first season. You want to talk about Ozark on my podcast, guys?
Oh my God. We might invite them, but if
I
it's
scored
so
for
long, I'll
market.
take it back. I'll talk about it. Sorry.
Alex is the one who asked us to watch the Ozarks.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm
Nice,
from
what
like
up,
2 hours
Alex?
north of the Ozarks.
Oh, nice.
I can't.
Oh no.
You have to change your mic output.
I don't know how to do
I
that.
I've got you.
I'll do that. There we go.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, Ozark is like, it's been one of my favorite shows that I've actually like been able to get into, because like finding Chicago to like Ozarks, like that's where I would go when I was like 5 for vacation, and it's like
I don't know, all the money laundering and the way they show build, and they kind of create this world that feels so real, and all the family drama and dynamics along with all the characters and how they end up.
Definitely. It's just like a bunch of different families just all interacting with each other. Really.
Yeah, basically, yeah, you got, and it's interesting then in the later seasons how those dynamics change, and then like the people that held power at one point are now subject to somebody else, or I don't know. It's a very like cause and effect based show.
True. A lot of things happen. There's always something. They're basically it's almost like for 4 seasons straight. It's just Marty and Wendy trying to solve just barely working their way out of shit.
Well, yeah, it's basically like they solve one problem, and then they basically get 3 more that they have to solve before they can actually get free. And then by the time they solve one of those problems, they're basically just given like something else that fucks them up.
Mm-hmm. Fei-Hung, you want to share your thoughts on Ozark to my podcast briefly, whether or not you liked it?
Ozark, it's hi there.
What's up, Fea?
Was it good? Was it bad?
I think it's good because I've never think like America is a like a little town, like a rural town, rather than like the Americas I saw on the TV are mostly like big cities where there's like national parks whatsoever. And the Ozarks is like a family show. It has like family drama. It's a laundry money, a cartel like killing people whatsoever. It's like cool. Like got all these stuff in one show.
That is true.
Yeah.
Thank you, Fei-Hung.
No.
Fea?
Thank you.
Yeah, most of America is like that. It's just fields and dust, especially the Midwest. But Chicago is obviously a
Hold on. Gosh, I don't know how to change it back. Voice and video, external headphones. I think you forgot to
like
put
that.
your mic back up to your face, Kevin. I didn't hear anything you said.
Oh yeah, true. Eh? I heard it echo on your computer for a second. I heard myself.
Talking. I don't know why we can't hear.
Well, I have headphones in now.
Oh, you can hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ozark.
Nice.
And
Ozark. Netflix
on the
original series.
Netflix original series Ozark. Yes, exactly. Ran from 2018 to 2022, I believe. On March 13th, I watched Magnolia, which I've seen 2 other times. I saw it first at my house, and then second at the new Beverly Cinema on 35mm film. I saw it this third time
That would have been nice.
on this TV. Yeah, the film print was also really degraded and it was like all crackly and cool.
Nice.
But I watched it this time on this TV. And much like The Dark Knight, on this rewatch, I really, truly understood. I feel like I understood the movie way more than I did the first time. Like the first time and the second time I watched it, I was just kind of like, oh, I was kind of confused about all the frogs and everything. But I kind of just understand how it's just this big movie about these relationships and how people are affected by their past and how they end up being. I just love how interconnected it is and how I just love the opening too, the opening narration where they go through chances of coincidence and happenstance. And yeah, the opening narration scene is just amazing. I love the way it's phrased, and then it just goes. It's just such an epic film. It's so sprawling. There's so many different characters, but things happen in really well thought out ways for like thematic like relations, and different things will happen at the same time, but they relate to each other, and yeah, it all culminates in this crazy event where everyone in the movie kind of ends up interacting with each other in one way or another. All these crazy coincidences, and then on top of it, now I understand the frog thing. It's like it's just the frog thing is just the final nail in the coffin to make this event of coincidence is just the most extraordinary thing ever. So, I just think it's a really cool movie, and I think it's definitely related to themes of just trauma and how it affects people and just family dynamics and things like that. So I think it's honestly, I was thinking about bumping it up to 5 stars if I watch it again and I resonate with it even more deeply. Because this watching, I finally kind of got it, but I think now that I kind of understand the general framework of it, I feel like if I watched it one more time, I would just truly understand everything, or at least most of everything, and really get what it is fully. And it could be one of those 5-star films.
Yeah,
'cause
Magnolia
it's
is
just that good.
really great. Really great. Should rewatch that one. I think that's the only Paul Thomas Anderson film I have still seen to date.
Yeah, I really love Paul Thomas Anderson. I did like an initial watching of most of his movies in 9th grade.
Your PTA.
Yeah, we're talking about Magnolia.
Yeah, great movie.
Yeah, Ian and I also watched Magnolia together, right?
Twice. Oh, okay, we're on.
Watched
Great
together
movie, bro.
twice.
Great movie.
Or were you not there the first time when I watched it with Liam?
No, I wasn't there. Yeah,
Then
we
yeah.
talked about that. You thought I was, but I wasn't. Or no, you thought you hadn't seen it, and then as you were watching it, you remember that you had seen it already.
Yeah, and like I even remember the frog scene, so like I had watched the whole thing for
Mhm.
sure.
You might have just been high.
Really hot. Yeah.
Really extremely high.
Yeah, really, really high.
So high.
Yeah, God, what's it? I forgot last month too. Fucking Philip Seymour Hoffman. He's really awesome. You should watch more of his movies. He's really just such a strong actor. He's like.
I
awesome.
agree. Yeah.
Crazy that he died. from
After I
heroin.
watched that movie, I read a little bit about Philip Seymour Hoffman and his Wikipedia and looked at all of the movies he's in and stuff like that. And yeah, he's a really interesting guy. I wish that we like knew more about him as a person, because he's very private and he didn't like talk about his family or anything, but he was like addicted to heroin and then got sober and then got re-addicted. So clearly there's probably some really dark things in his life for him for that to be the case. So I wonder what that was, but he never really did any like interviews. He just was a pure artist actor. Yes, Ian.
Speaking of PTA, can we watch Punch Drunk Love soon?
That's
Yeah,
a
definitely.
fantastic
After we
film,
finish
Zach.
watching all 8 Harry Potter
You know
movies.
what, Zach? Especially talking about
Or
you
maybe
rewatch.
we could alternate to be a little bit fair.
Talking about you
A little bit
rewatching
of
stuff. I
Adam
know you.
Sandler here, a little bit of Harry Potter there.
Yeah.
I know you gave Punch Drunk Love a pretty bad score, but I watched it like last year, and it's really quite great, Zach. So you should rewatch it, and then you'll revitalize your opinion, just like you did with the Deer Hunter. Punch Drunk Love is really
I
fantastic.
believe that when we watch Punch Drunk Love, I will probably definitely like it a lot more than when I first watched it.
Yeah,
I'm
Adam
sure.
Sandler is really good in that movie. He's kind of a very, very sad, kind of freaky guy. Very kind of a freak. Very, very uncomfortable movie sometimes. That phone call is very strange. But anyway, I have it on Criterion, so I have it on Criterion because I'm a cool guy, but basically I watched it on my Criterion Blu-ray.
Was this one of the actually for legal purposes I shouldn't discuss that.
I bought Punch Drunk Love. Yeah, I bought that with Joe Biden money back in like 2020.
Stimulus check.
Alright, there's that little build, and here we go. We're going to attach this. This is exciting. Very best part of Lego. We got a little side build here, which we'll attach to the main build. And as you can see, we'll do this now. So we'll go here. There we go.
Incredible.
I will update you further.
This is
updates.
exciting. I wonder if we're going to be able to. This podcast will go the right length so that you'll finish it.
I don't know. We got 2 more bags after this.
Oh wow. This is kind of a big set for
Yeah,
to
it's
be
a
a
big
freebie.
gift with
I guess that you spent a lot of money on.
277 pieces. Yeah, I got an even bigger gift with purchase over there. It's 500 pieces. Not to mention my Batman
How many
set, which is
pieces was the
4,000.
Batman set?
It's over 4,000, but they're all
Over
pretty
4,000.
small. It's like a pretty small piece set.
Let's see.
It's not like the Hogwarts one,
Yeah.
where they're all huge, but it's a really cool set. Possibly the coolest set that Lego's ever done, in my opinion. But, alright, Magnolia, yeah, fantastic film. I should rewatch it, along with his other movies.
True.
13th. Alright, can I... guess I've only got three other shows.
Hold on, I actually have to pee.
Okay.
I needed to
I'll
pee
entertain
earlier
the
than I
audience
did.
with... Yeah, I'll do play-by-play with Legos.
All right.
Alright. Alright guys, well, I'm going to take this 2x6 white piece here, little thin plate. I'm going to attach this 3x2 tan piece, thin plate, and then this 1x2 thin studded plate. And we're going to take this piece, put this here, going to put the 3x2 one on the edge, and put this here. We want to do it as so. The two pieces there. Should have two blank pieces here and then two pieces on the side. I'm doing a very good job of explaining how to do this. Don't really know how to articulate this. Kind of just the same thing I do on my own and quietly. Legos, a very personal thing. I've been doing this since I was don't even know how young. As long as I can remember, I've been doing Lego sets. That's step 41 through. We've got that piece. Step 42, we're gonna want this angled piece. Never know what they call these corners. Little L-shaped corner piece. One white stud and one of these light yellow kind of angled. I don't know what you call these either. Lots of intuitive. Is it intuitive the right word or ingenuitive? Lego pieces these days, guys. That's why the builds look so crazy. It's like Michael K. Williams said in the community. What's up with Legos these days? Why are they so complicated? Harry Potter Legos, Star Wars Legos. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just wondering what happened. I love that scene. I watched that after I watched The Wire. I watched Community before I seen The Wire, so I didn't know who Michael K. Williams was really. Then I randomly came across that scene again after having seen The Wire, and I loved it. Number one, being a Community fan, being a Lego fan, and being a Omar fan, The Wire fan. Of course, that was really awesome and funny when I discovered that and realized that was Michael K. Williams the whole time. Whatever happened with Legos? Alright, thanks guys.
All right.
I was just keeping
I'll have to listen back to that when the podcast comes out. See what you said.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. I just choked on a little bit of spit there.
Ew. Hate when that happens. Hate when that happens.
Should I move on to Paris, Texas, or did you watch anything between that?
You can move on to Paris, Texas. Yeah,
All right.
I was just gonna mention I have 4 other TV shows, so we can go back and forth or whatever.
4 other TV shows.
2 movies and 4 TV shows.
Well, okay, maybe you should talk about the TV show then.
All right.
Because I only have 4 movies left.
I'll just talk about Dragon Ball Z again. I'm just a little bit further into it. I haven't done nearly as much treadmilling as I should have in March. Way less actually, so I didn't get too much further in the show. But I'm currently wrapping up the first little bit of filler, and Goku is on his way across the serpent thing. He ran into a serpent lady one episode who wanted to keep him forever and eat him. He accidentally fell into hell, and 2 guys helped him get out. And then on Gohan's side, he's training a lot, and Hopefully we'll be strong enough to beat those Saiyans when they arrive in 9 months now. Clock's ticking.
Fingers crossed.
Gone down from 1 year to 9 months. They're coming, whether we like it or not. But yeah, it's a great show to watch on the treadmill while I do my exercise. Watch the Japanese dub, of course, and the outro theme song is really cool. It's really funky. I enjoy it a lot. Zenkai Power. It's a great song. Yeah, that's it though. If you would like to talk about Paris, Texas now, which I own on Criterion, just by the way. I've never seen
Yeah,
that.
have you seen it?
I've not seen it.
Paris, Texas was directed by Wim Wenders, who has a new movie out called Perfect Days. But this is the first movie I'd seen by him. I think he's a somewhat famous director who I think directs like international language films. Like he's directed several different films in different languages, if that makes sense. This
Wonder
one
how
was.
you do that.
I guess you just have a good translator. I guess that's the only way.
Guess so.
Guess the studio just puts aside some money for a translator. Or he just speaks the languages. I'm not sure. He might actually just speak the languages. I think he's German, but this movie is American. It takes place in America. It is basically, it's such an interesting movie because it starts out in the desert. You're completely disoriented, and then you see this man walking in the desert, played by Harry Dean Stanton. This man is just walking in the desert with this red hat on and a suit on. He's just walking and he's silent. He's not talking, and you don't know anything about him. It just follows him, and then follows him going to this gas station, finding this gas station, getting water, and then getting medical help, and then eventually they call this guy's his brother, and we find out that he's basically been just kind of on the run, but not just kind of like walking in the desert, much like I would have done if I had actually done my walk across America. He's been walking in the desert for like a year. He's been like kind of just missing. No one knows where he's been, and when his brother comes to pick him up, he's completely silent. He doesn't talk. It's a very mysterious like setup for the film. You're disoriented, and then you just slowly learn more about what's going on, and you learn that this guy had a wife and a kid, and there was an event, I think the wife gave up the kid or something, I forget exactly what the exact details of it were, but basically both the dad and the mom were separated from the kid, and the kid was being raised by this desert man's brother, the one who came to pick him up, and his wife. And so the main like story of the movie is this mysterious man kind of reconnecting with his son, and also trying to reunite with his ex-wife and reunite his son with his wife. But it's a very I would describe it as a very meditative film. It's very gentle, and there's a lot of interactions between the dad and the kid, and the dad is very he's very reserved. He seems very kind of, I don't know, he seems like he has kind of has PTSD from this horrible event that happened in the relationship. I'm forgetting what the actual details of it were, but he's just very reserved and a gentle, like a nice guy, and they just show like the interactions between him and his biological son, who had been raised by his brother for several years, and then eventually they reunite with the mother as well. And I think there's like a 25 minutes long scene that's just them talking to each other in this very like slow and paced out way. It's just such a great scene that ends the movie, I think. But it was a movie of a type of like variety of a certain disposition that I feel like I really haven't seen before. It was a new sort of. It's hard to compare it to something, because it's almost like a new, interesting way to like feeling of how the story feels. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's definitely very, very, very different feeling, but a very good story, and I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. I think it's a very good movie. I would definitely like to watch it again also. It's actually the 55th best movie on Letterboxd, apparently.
Yeah, I know it's very extremely highly acclaimed. It's one I should definitely watch. I have my pure beautiful Criterion edition that I either did or did not attain.
Say that again?
I have my beautiful Barnes & Noble copy of it.
I see.
I should watch it.
I see.
Very highly acclaimed, yes. Yes,
All right.
it intrigues me. I wonder what it's about. Even though you just told me, but I actually want to watch it.
Next TV
What I
show?
mean. What I mean. So, I was been watching the Avatar remake on Netflix.
Is it good?
April Fools!
Oh,
I would never watch that show.
good
I've already
prank.
seen it. It exists. It's animated and it's really good. I did however, watch Drew Gooden's video on why the Netflix series is not good. And I enjoyed that.
Was it a good takedown?
Good takedown. Very articulate. Very articulate.
Yep. Always good when someone can articulate things really
Did you
well.
watch Eddie Burback's Apple video? You watch
No,
Eddie
I didn't.
Burback? Oh yeah, you didn't really.
I have watched Eddie Burback, and I do definitely enjoy his content.
Eddie Burback's awesome.
Definitely much more than I enjoy Gus Johnson's content.
Oh yeah, canceled.
Yeah.
Hashtag canceled.
Canceled, but also like I just
canceled in the.
I don't know if his humor got worse or if I just like grew up, but I feel like he's just not very funny. Like when I watch his videos, even like his old videos, I just don't find them to be funny anymore. But Eddie Burback is definitely a very good YouTuber.
Yeah,
I agree.
Awesome.
I watched his video about ghost kitchens.
Yeah, I watched that one
good.
in my car, half asleep, waiting for you to arrive in Albuquerque. Actually.
Oh, nice.
As soon as I arrived, I got.
Oh man, it's hailing.
Wow.
I think it's hailing. Looks like it. So it's coming down so heavy. See that?
Yeah.
It's actually
Nice views, actually.
not showing up too well on camera,
cool.
but
I see it. It was hailing like last week, I think. It's like half snow, half hail. They're like balls. It's like Dippin' Dots, pretty much. It's like raining Dippin' Dots.
yeah, that's how it is. That would be like what would happen in Claudia with a Chance of Meatballs. They actually should have done that as a joke in Claudia with a Chance of Meatballs. It's like, it's hailing Dippin' Dots.
This is tough, Zach. One of the orange versus green, and as you know, I am pretty colorblind and I'm having a tough time. I think I got it. Yeah, I definitely have it. But I am definitely color deficient. Alright. I didn't actually watch Avatar The Last Airbender Netflix remake. I never will. However, I did watch, and still watching, have 2 episodes left in Fargo Season 3. This time taking place in 2010 and 2011 in Minnesota. Forgot the city, I should remember it, but I don't. This one stars Mary Elizabeth Winstead and Ewan McGregor and David
Mhm.
Thewlis. David Thewlis plays
David
the villain.
Thewlis, who plays Remus Lupin in Harry Potter.
Yep, of course. Yeah, he's really awesome in this. He's a really creepy, really weird guy who like picks at his teeth with like metal tooth picker and just makes his gum bleed on purpose so he can suck the blood up and taste it or something. I don't know exactly why he does it. And he also goes to buffets and just eats a bunch and then throws up. He has really nasty teeth. Really weird character. But like always, the formula is basically there's just a lot of moving parts. Like a lot of the Coen Brothers movies, there's just kind of stuff just kind of happens and wheels get set in motion. And different characters have different motivations and they all just kind of collide. Really enjoy the way they do it. Yeah, but I'm really enjoying the season for the most part. I've got 2 episodes left in the story. I'm not exactly enjoying it as much as season 1 and 2. I think those are the peak of the show. I think Ben agrees with me with that. We watch half the episodes together. I watch it on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and he's busy on Tuesdays. But we watch it together.
Wow,
on
so he
Thursdays.
just misses half the episodes?
Well, no, he watches them on his own time. He's
I
not
see.
missing out on half the story. But
Yeah, that would be kind of weird.
yeah, Ben really loves Fargo. But Mary Elizabeth Winstead's character is really cool. She's really hot in the show.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, she's a good character. But it's interesting. Ian McGregor is playing the 2 leads basically. So he's playing brothers, and one of them is nice and rich and sophisticated. The other is a parole officer who, with a big like kind of receding, kind of like rocker haircut, wears leather jackets and such. But yeah, it's interesting. They don't share that many scenes together because the brothers kind of don't like each other. When they do it, it looks fine. Just simple, split screen effect, probably whatever they do to make the characters look like they're talking to each other. But yeah, the highlight of the show this season for sure is definitely David Thewlin. I always forget if it's Thewlin or Thewlis. I think it's Thewlis.
Thewlis.
Yeah, I always forget. I just said that. I really enjoy David Thewlis's character. He's really cool. Definitely the highlight of the show this season. Very enigmatic. But and for the first half of the show, first half of the season, I wasn't sure what the connection would be, because of course they connect. The seasons connect in some way, but it didn't seem to be connecting. It wasn't a prequel or a sequel or anything. But then one of the characters from one of the seasons pops up in one of the episodes, and I was like, what? So that's the tie-in. Wasn't as cool as the one from season 2 to season 1 though. But overall it's really good. I enjoy it. It's very fun. Very easy to get into. And I've got 2 seasons left after this, which will both be their own stories as well, of course, as always. And yeah, Fargo is a great show. Recommend it, especially the first 2 seasons.
All right, I'll take it into consideration. Hopefully our audience at home will also take it into consideration. Watching Fargo.
The FX original series, not the Coen Brothers film.
You wouldn't recommend the Coen Brothers film?
Well, I would. They go hand in hand.
Hand in hand.
The Coen Brothers film ties into the show. It's based in the same universe, of course. It's a shared universe. It's the Fargo television-atic cinematic universe.
You explained it last time that the first movie is basically the season 0 of the show.
Yes, I did explain that last time.
All right. Well, hopefully next month we'll be here of season 4, and you'll wrap up your Fargo.
We'll hear about
watching.
We'll hear about most of season 4. I have by the end of April, I'll have 2 episodes left in season 4, and then I'll probably finish the show up in early June, because then I'll have season 5 as well, and then I'll probably be done in early June.
Ooh, would you like to see how many sodas I've drinking so far today?
Sure.
Here they all are. Here's the graveyard.
Oof, what is that? 6, including the big gulp.
So there's 5.
What's in the big gulp then?
Actually, this is still this is just I use this as like a grandpa tea style cup. I just refill it with water.
Nice.
Just a plastic big gulp cup, but I think it's a good cup
Yeah,
for
very
just drinking
useful.
water out of.
Muy útil.
Didn't finish this Sprite Zero Sugar, so it's not cold
Yuck.
or carbonated. Okay, should we continue march on ahead here? Try to land this plane, so to speak, with those last couple of films, and
Yeah, that's
maybe you have 1 or 2 more TV shows.
Yeah, let's talk about M.
Sure. M, directed by Fritz Lang, is another movie I watched for my early film history class. I'm really glad I'm in that class because I really do enjoy older movies, and I'm glad I was able to see this movie, and also I'm glad that after we watch a movie like this, we can talk about it. Or my film professor was like, what's good about this class is you get the chance to watch like a lot of older movies in the correct context, placed in its time, understanding what was going on at the time. And I agree. I definitely feel like I get a much more enriching experience than I would if I just watched this movie randomly, because he sort of, when he was setting up this film, he set up the backdrop of this movie came out in 1931, a couple years after audio was introduced to film. And at the time, people just didn't really know exactly how to do it artistically. They were just literally just making sure, trying to record sound, like just practically figuring out how to do it, how to like make it sound good, and the sound itself was just kind of a novelty for a while. But this movie made a very like deliberate and artistic use of sound. It's actually quite a quiet movie at times. There's times when there's like pretty much no audio at all besides just the background like ambient like hum of just silence that you would hear in an old movie, if you know what I mean. But there's like sound effects used. There's a motif of this whistle that the antagonist of the film sings. He sings, I think, some Mozart or some famous classical recognizable tune that I can't remember what it was, but you'd recognize it if you heard it. They I don't know, they're just very deliberate about using the sound. And I say they, but it's really Fritz Lang, the director. I mean, obviously other people worked on it, but Fritz Lang, the director, is like a really fantastic filmmaker, and I've seen his other movie, his most famous movie, Metropolis. I watched that in 2019, I believe, and that movie is incredible too. It has one of my favorite scores of all time, the Metropolis main theme. It's the most triumphant, exuberant piece of like film music I've ever heard. But so this was done by a very qualified type of guy, and it was like his first. He did silent films for a long time, and this was his first thing using audio, and he just did a really good job about it. You could tell he was really thinking hard about it. He used a lot of like off-screen action where there would be like someone talking, but then they would just show a bunch of other things, like almost like in a film like Ocean's 11 when they're like planning a heist and they're talking about it, and then they show clips of what it would look like, but they're actually still in the room talking about it. It almost felt like this was kind of pioneering that style of something going on in one room and having a discussion about something and then showing clips of that discussion, which, I mean, obviously that's something that's used in a lot of movies, but this was like made in 1931. This is I don't know this for a fact, but I it feels like this is probably one of the first times that idea was ever kind of explored, just because of the nature of it. You doing that would be impossible before sound. But the story of it is extremely good. It's a really good suspenseful thriller. It feels very modern. The characters, well, actually, it's not really necessarily about the characters per se. It's really just about this whole community, whole town of people that are all like kind of working together to catch this one child kidnapper / murderer, and that's what the movie's about. But just the way it unfolds is just so perfect and genuinely compelling and gripping, and yeah, it's just really great. It's definitely one I would recommend, and also one of the number 111 in the Letterboxd Top 250. So again, another classic, incredible film. And
Criterion as well.
Yep.
Yep, just
That
one of
would
those
be
movies that I'm aware of, and I know it's just really prestigious, and I should watch. But I go, oh, what if it's really good? So then I don't watch it.
Yeah, I'll say that I think of any like older type of movie that's considered to be prestigious, this is definitely one that would be very easy for anyone to watch and really get into and actually really enjoy. I think there's some movies that are kind of, you have to be in the right mood for an older movie, but I feel like this one really just, it doesn't feel like it's an old movie. It just feels like it's a movie. So
Nice.
Yeah, that's all I think I have to say about M. I gave it 4 stars.
Beautiful. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? I said beautiful.
Yeah, I think that the listeners are going to have another problem with this episode's audio, which is that the pulling away the mic back and forth, coming in and out of quality, could be annoying. But I don't know. We'll have to see.
Really, we'll have to. My biggest concern still is the echoing, and even if I'm not talking at all, my little thing when my mic thing is jumping no matter what I do. But yours is completely silent right now because you're not talking. But even if I don't, it's still constantly jumping. I don't know why. We'll have to see. But even when you're not talking, it's still doing something. So I think it's just kind of like the white noise. My camera.
Maybe. It's not lighting up green when I'm looking at it unless you're talking.
Yeah.
But
so, we'll see.
Well, next week maybe we can record our audio separately.
Next month.
And
the audio will get better as we go, folks. But we haven't really acknowledged yet. But if you listened to last month's episode, thanks for sticking with us. It'll get better every month as we go on. By June, it should be good.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I think that
even by April,
probably it would be amazing if someone was still listening to this so deep in the podcast. Probably, maybe Mom will listen to it like she did the last one. She did listen to some of it. Yeah.
The real reason we're doing this is to have a nice chat.
True, and because Kevin loves to just talk about media, so this is a great way we can bond.
Yep, that's true. I also like uploading things online and watching it.
Yeah, I do too.
2 hours and 43 minutes now, 33 seconds.
Yeah, it wouldn't feel the same listening to this if it wasn't uploaded publicly online. It would be
that is cool.
It wouldn't be as fun.
Do you not like talking about media?
No, I do like talking about media.
Is that why you specified that I really like talking about media? It's the only thing that brings me joy.
No, I wasn't saying that necessarily. I'm just saying a lot of the times when we hang out, you're really anxious to hear just my thoughts. Like I get I just get the feeling that you really just like hearing my thoughts on movies. So
yeah, I do.
I like hearing your thoughts on movies too. I don't. It's not like I don't, but it's not like it's the only thing that I think we could talk about. And I don't think that it's the only thing you think you could talk. I just think you get excited about it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, definitely.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
exactly.
Which that was a media reference because that's all I think about. That was a reference to Seinfeld.
True.
And check it out, Zach. I finished it.
Oh wow,
Bunny, and then
that
the
is
other
pretty
side.
cool.
The other side. Just did a little
At
chicken
the
in
back
there.
there, yeah.
There's a couple bit of food.
Very
There's a
nice.
fork in there. There's an egg up there. So this is it. Set number 40682. It's a gift with purchase.
40682. So is that the
No longer
40,682nd Lego set ever made?
I'm not sure. It might be. I'm not sure how their number system works.
Let me look up Lego set number 1. First 15 Lego sets ever made. Atomic Binding Bricks. Kevin, would you be happy if I got you an Atomic Binding Bricks original first Lego set for your birthday from 1949?
I'd be indifferent. I wouldn't really want it. I'd rather have a cool one, modern one.
I see. You're not a fan of the Lego ethos necessarily. You're just a fan of the actual cool Legos that you like specifically.
I'm a fan of the building process.
Yeah. Yeah, this would not be a very fun building process. It's a very simple set.
I mean, I'd take it just for like the historic value. Maybe keep it in a box or something, or even a glass case. I don't know. What I'd really like is all the original, early 2000s Lego Batman sets, like the Tumbler I used to have, the Freeze one I used to have, and I think my white whale might be the Two-Face truck chase. That Two-Face minifigure is goated. But anyway.
Really?
Yeah, totally.
Um,
They're coming out with more Batman the Animated Series minifigures this summer, so I'm gonna be in trouble. Coming out with more sets, I mean. They only have this one big one so far. It comes with Batman, Catwoman, Joker, and Harley Quinn minifigures. But it's rumored this summer there's gonna be more. One of the minifigures being Mr. Freeze, which I would like a minifigure of him. But hopefully they're not too expensive. Lego's really getting expensive these days.
Yeah.
What can I say? You'll always have your way when you're with me. All right.
Okay.
Well, can I talk about another TV show? I don't know.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Sorry, I was looking at the Batmobile Two Faces Escape on bricklink.com. Looks like they're pretty pricey to get a complete set.
Yeah, I bet. Brick. Here, can you share your screen, Zach? I would love to watch what you're doing. We can share with the audience, with our audience. Here.
Yeah. Let's see. Share your screen.
And I'll try to talk about my TV shows. Here we go.
Well, here it
It
is.
only says watch streaming.
This is the set you're talking about, right?
Oh,
is it not going?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I see it. Yeah, that's the one. Very cool. I love that hairpiece.
And
Awesome
you can see
hairpiece.
there's a set that's used incomplete for $66.31.
Not bad.
But then if you want to get a complete set, they start at $121.
Oof.
So
What makes it incomplete? That top one.
just people lose if someone
Batmobile
lost
and
it.
Batman, no Two-Face or armored truck, no spare parts, no instructions, no box. It's not much of a set.
They probably
Two-Face figure has
sold
crack
off
and torso.
the minifigure separately, maybe, or they just lost it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. If only as kids we knew that we should have preserved all of our Lego sets and kept every single individual piece and then disassembled them and put them in plastic bags like you did later in life, then we could have all of our Lego sets instead of just throwing them in our giant bin of Legos that we never actually used if it broke even once.
Yep.
At least that's what I did. I just gotta if it broke, even if it just broke, I feel like I would just discard it into that big giant bin because I'd be like, oh, there's just no point in trying. What am I gonna do?
Yeah, I would do that
Rebuild
too.
it?
It's like, yeah, just disassemble everything and then redo it. Anyway, but yeah, I really wish, even more than keeping my Lego sets, I really wish Dad wouldn't have gotten rid of his Stephen King copies because he had literally had like a whole complete collection, and it was the book club editions, which they basically remade all the first editions. Which
You're kind of cutting in and out.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, in that stream. Dad used to have all the book club editions, which they basically just remade all the first editions and then republished them, which I think is what the Carrie one you got me is from. Where did you even get that Carrie copy? Because I would
On
love
eBay.
eBay.
Yeah.
Did it say it was a first edition or was it a book club edition? There's no way you got a first edition. That would be like thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah, it probably was a book club edition, but I don't think it really matters.
No,
I don't.
I just want the look.
As long as it
care if
looks the
it's-
same, I don't think that
Exactly,
knowing
yeah.
it's a first edition really does anything.
Exactly, just for value. But I would love to have a full shelf of all the hardcovers. But I like my paperbacks as well. Anyway,
You could have
oh
a
my
nice glass
gosh.
case, protecting the hardcovers, and then all your soft covers could be for general reading.
Yeah. Right. Well, I'll talk about Curb Your Enthusiasm now. Mentioned this last month, but I'm still watching it. I've got half of season 11 left, and then season 12, and then I'm done. The penultimate episode premiered last night, and then the series finale will be this Sunday. And it'll be caught up
wow.
by then. I've been
That's
watching.
exciting. Or exciting, but also sad.
Exciting and
Curb Your
sad.
Enthusiasm is ending this Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Although, who knows? I think most likely it will be the end, but Larry David ended the show before, and he brought it back 7 years later or so.
True,
He is
but-
pretty old, though, now. He looks really old, and so
Yeah.
he's ending it because he looks like he needs to be in a nursing home.
That's funny.
Yeah, but it's really great. I love that Leon's a full cast member now. He's in every episode instead of just a couple every season. Leon's really fun, really adds to the show. I watched season 9, season 10, and then half of season 11. And it's
Nice.
really fun. R.I.P. to Richard Lewis. I'm really enjoying the scenes he has now. Rest in peace to Funkhauser as well, of course. Bob Einstein died after season 9, so they just made a new character, Freddy Funkhauser, I guess, played by Vince Vaughn. But anyway, yeah, really cracks me up. I also finished my rewatch of Seinfeld. Started it on October 1st, 2023, and just finished it the other day on day 180. Watched all 180 episodes over 180 days. And it's a really
Didn't miss
funny
a single
show.
day, huh?
I did miss multiple days, but I caught up. I would some
I see.
days watch 2 in one day to catch back up.
I see.
But Seinfeld's really awesome. So is Curb Your Enthusiasm. Larry David's awesome. Really great show. I like Bryan Cranston's cameo as just the therapist. It's interesting who he chooses to have as a cameo playing themselves, or just a cameo playing just a doctor or a random whatever. The 9th season end had Lin-Manuel Miranda playing himself and doing a musical, which was fun. But yeah, 10 out of 10 show. My favorite comedy along with Seinfeld. So
Nice.
watch all the episodes. Watch all of Seinfeld and then watch all of Curb Your Enthusiasm. For the best
Are you telling me to do
experience.
that?
Anybody that's listening.
Oh, I see. All right.
300
Well-
episodes of funniness.
200 episodes.
No, 300.
Now
Because Seinfeld had 180 and Curb Your Enthusiasm had 120. We can get to exactly 300 episodes throughout the whole run.
Wow, I wonder if that was on purpose. Probably not.
Probably not. No, it's kind of random.
Dream Scenario, which I watched on March 22nd, is the
Dream
next
Scenario.
movie. My second to last movie. And this movie was certainly quite interesting. It was really weird, and it was a bit, I'm sure you've seen trailers for it, or I don't know if you've seen it, but it's
I've
about
seen it, but I don't
Nicolas
really know anything
Cage.
about it besides he's in it.
It's about Nicolas Cage being, who is a plays a professor at a college, professor of genetics, and inexplicably he starts showing up in people's dreams. And he's just standing there watching people's dreams. And at first he becomes really popular, and then the dreams he starts literally just like killing people in their dreams. And it's just some professor, and he doesn't know why it's happening or what's going on. He's just showing it in people's heads magically, and they never really even explain why it happens. But they explore some interesting like ideas about like dream like implantation and like there's almost like a pulse to the movie where after this whole thing happened, some company like capitalized on the technology of like a person entering one's dreams and then invented this process of implanting like human beings as an advertisement into people's dreams. It was kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like a bunch of different ideas that weren't really cohesive or didn't really. It wasn't there wasn't a big like theme, I guess, that I picked up on. So it was good. I enjoyed it, but it didn't have. It was entertaining to watch, but it didn't have like that spark to it, I guess, that would make it like, or not a spark. I guess it had the spark. It just didn't have good enough like structuring of the story and the plot and everything. I feel like it could have been more interesting, but also at the same time, I appreciate how like out there and weird it is. So I would say it's probably good one to watch.
And what does whoopee mean?
Just, like weird and whoopee, like woo,
Yeah,
it's kind of a term I'm coining. But...
Yeah, I got you. It's kind of a coin term, but you can infer. It's kind of like wacky, whoopee, wiggly,
yeah,
buggy.
Exactly.
Okay. Nice.
So yeah, and then finally, I watched Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire.
Well, let's see here. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here, Zach. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. On the 22nd is when you watch Dream Scenario. On the 20, actually, go ahead. Actually, well, I should talk about my other shows. Let me see.
You have a show to discuss?
So just two more shows. Very brief.
All right. Well, why don't you discuss them, and then I can discuss Ghostbusters, and then you can discuss Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right?
Yep. And Batman.
All right.
Well, just The Walking Dead. Yeah, not much to say. I'm finishing up season 8, and then I'll start Fear the Walking Dead.
Not much to say. Not much interesting happening.
Carl's dead, and Negan.
Carl Papa
died, and then Negan got kidnapped by Jadis. That was the last episode I saw. And then the most excited part the part I'm most excited for, is when Negan fights Simon. Should be fun. Because I know Simon, they're ramping up. Simon's really disloyal to Negan now. They're going to fight, probably in the next episode. So that should be fun to watch. But that's it. The Walking Dead. Only on AMC. AMC's The Walking Dead.
Only on AMC?
Only on AMC. Is where you can find AMC's.
How many seasons are you? When you finish Walking Dead, are you gonna continue on with the whole universe, or are you just gonna watch The Walking Dead?
Yeah, of course I'm gonna continue with the whole universe. That's why it's Walker Wednesday. I watched the first 3 seasons of Fear the Walking Dead before I started The Walking Dead. After I finished, you want me to share my screen with you? You want me to?
Yeah, you should. Do you have like different Google Docs with all like the itinerary of the shows and like when you'll finish each show?
No, I don't have that. I just have a calendar, month by month. I just have my calendar.
I see. That's what I would do. I'm planning for a trip to Disney World on my birthday, and I've been making a really detailed itinerary because there's a lot of really complicated bus rides that I have to go on and like transfers I have to do, unless I want to spend like $200 on Ubers. So I'm writing out the whole plan.
got
Ugh.
the screen shared
When
here
would
now
you-
on my.
When would you
I know.
estimate you would finish the Walking Dead universe by? Or I guess it's still going, so you can't really tell.
Yeah, it's still going. They just finished up The Ones Who Live, the Rick and Michonne show.
Several
season.
years, probably.
Several years, probably at least minimum by 2027, probably. Maybe
2027.
2020,
It'd be
2026,
25, huh?
maybe 2026. But do you see it?
Let me hit the watch stream button.
This is a whole extensive list. I'll take you
Ah.
to the tour. So I just finished up Fear the Walking Dead season 8. But now it's not. Here, I'll do that. Just still. Okay, you just have to watch my cursor. I can't click on it or else it'll.
I can
away.
see it. I can see it.
Yeah, I know. Well, when I click on it, it goes off of my screen, and I'm trying to screen record. But anyway, I'll just follow my cursor. So I finished season 8 of of the Walking Dead, and I'll move on to Fear the Walking Dead season 4 all the way, which is when Morgan goes from the Walking Dead to Fear the Walking Dead, and also a couple of our main characters will die, such as Nick, and Madison does a fake out death, but then she comes back in a later season. And then I've got season 9, which is Rick's last season. The Whispers are there, and then season 5 I think is when Dwight comes into the season Fear the Walking Dead. Another Walking Dead character goes to Fear the Walking Dead, and then the Walking Dead season 10, episodes 1 through 16, and then this is when it really gets crazy. This is their third spinoff now. They introduced the Walking Dead World Beyond, which is super far into the future, and it's like kids that grew up in the zombie apocalypse and never really knew anything else, like their first generation. So that's what that's about.
See.
And it also has ties to the CRM, which is the Rick stuff. And then basically we go back and forth from episode 1, Walking Dead World Beyond, to episode 1, Fear the Walking Dead, as you can see here. Kind of just alternates here, so it's gonna be a crazy time. And then I guess it finishes up season 6 of Fear the Walking Dead here, and we finish off World Beyond here. Then we move back to The Walking Dead season 10, the final 6 episodes, which I understand were kind of a COVID special. They kind of did like a mini season during COVID, the best they could do. It kind of not have implications on the main plot, but kind of just like side stories. And then we move on to Fear the Walking Dead season 6, once again, finish off that season. And then we move to The Walking Dead season 11, the final season, which they split into 3 parts. Will be part 1, minus the last episode, and then we go into Walking Dead World Beyond season 2, which is the final season of Walking Dead World Beyond. And then we finish off Walking Dead season 11, moving on to Walking Dead World Beyond season 2, and then we do another alternating game between season 2, Walking Dead World Beyond, and season 7 of Fear the Walking Dead, the penultimate season of Fear the Walking Dead. And we just kind of alternate there, episode by episode, until we get to finishing off World Beyond. That's the series finale here of Walking Dead World Beyond, leading us further into the CRM, learning more about Jadis and the CRM, hints about Rick. We also learned that there's a virus in France, setting up the Daryl show there. And then we move back, finish off season 7 of Fear the Walking Dead first half, finish off World Beyond, series finale, then jump back to Walking Dead season 11, the main show with our heroes. This is part 2, all of part 2, 9 through 16. Then we go to Fear the Walking Dead, second half of season 7, finish that off, season 7's done. On to season 8, the final season. Then we just do knock out Tales of the Walking Dead, which was their 4th spin-off, which is kind of just a small anthology show telling side stories. A couple of the episodes are prequels about a couple of characters, namely Alpha, I think, but the other ones are kind of just side stories from within the world of the Walking Dead. Don't really have to watch these ones, but of course, as it is Walker Wednesday, 6 Walker Wednesdays will be dedicated to this show. Then after Tales of the Walking Dead season 1, which is still the only season yet to be seen if it will be just a mini-series, kind of anthology special, or they will do a season 2, we finish off the Walking Dead main show once and for all with episodes 17 through 24. 24 being the last episode of the show, titled Rest in Peace. Finally, not finally, but after that, it brings us to Fear the Walking Dead Season 8, the final season of Fear the Walking Dead, of course.
Of course.
Episodes 1 through 6. We're finishing off Morgan's story. Madison is back. Then after episodes 1 through 6, looks like they take a bit of a hiatus. It's more like 2 seasons of their own. It's kind of like how Breaking Bad did their part 1, part 2, Hank being on the toilet. After episodes 1 through 6, first half of season 8 of Fear the Walking Dead, we go to The Walking Dead Dead City season 1, which is the show spin-off about Negan and Maggie doing their own side adventure in New York, apparently. Not sure what they're doing there. After all, Negan brutally murdered Maggie's husband, so I'm not sure why she is even breathing the same air of him currently without killing him, but I guess we'll have to see. Lots of character development down the line. Now, after Dead City is Daryl Dixon season 1, which came out last year. These are both 6-episode series featuring just little shows about our heroes. This one's just about Daryl. He's in France now. Not sure why or how he got there, and he meets some friends there. And then after Daryl Dixon, we move on to Fear the Walking Dead season 8, final season, final part, episodes 7 through 12, and that is it for Fear the Walking Dead. And actually, this is outdated, so give me a second, and I will update this.
Of course. In the event that Daryl dies, are you just gonna give up on this whole thing and just start rioting?
No, I wouldn't. I could care less if Daryl dies or lives. Because he's a fictional character and ultimately doesn't matter. But here, I have it updated now in the most recent edition, which just came out, just finished last week. The Walking Dead: The Ones Who Live, Season 1, featuring Rick and Michonne. The last episode, we got to finally see Rick kind of meet Judith, because he left before she really kind of became her own person, started really talking, being able to communicate and everything like that. She was only kind of 2 or 3 when he left, I believe. So now she's like 12, and she's actually her own person. So he meets her and is able to talk with her, and he also meets his other son, RJ, who he has with Michonne. Very much looking forward to that. And actually, I won't write this down now because I don't know why I even explained all of that. But the last one after The Ones Who Live, Season 1, is Daryl Dixon. Season 2, titled The Book of Carol. And they bring in
Got
Carol.
it.
She's going to be in it.
Seems like, honestly, this could take like 10 years.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It could, looking at it. One a week.
Because like one season, it's like 20 episodes, right?
Each season's about 16 episodes.
I see. So
The
like
last 2 are 24, but yeah.
it's like maybe around 4 seasons of a year of different shows, perhaps. On average.
Around that. Yeah.
You only watch 1 episode a week or 2?
Only 1 episode. It's Walker Wednesday.
Got it. All right. Well, would that wrap up your discussion of The Walking Dead?
That's my Walking Dead. Yeah,
Season 8 of The Walking Dead?
8. Only 2 episodes left. And actually, I usually only do 1 episode a week, but on Wednesday, April 10th, I will be having the Worlds Collide special, simulating what they did in real life, where Morgan goes from The Walking Dead to Fear the Walking Dead, and they have a double episode night. Directly after The Walking Dead Season 8, Episode 16, I will watch Fear the Walking Dead Season 4, Episode 1.
Nice.
Very exciting. The Worlds Collide Spectacular. After that, I will go back to my regular 1 episode a week program. And I will also have to stop reading the Walking Dead comic books while I watch Fear the Walking Dead, which will not be fun, because I enjoy reading the comics more than watching the show most times.
Why will you have to? Oh, because you'll just finish them?
Yeah, I'll finish it before the show's. I'm trying to be somewhat on pace, so.
You ever think about reading a different graphic novel series or comic series?
Yeah, I mean, there's some out there I want to read. I'm not too interested in comic books, but I'd like to read Invincible, but that's about it. I've already read Watchmen, which is my favorite now.
Oh, Got it.
But that's
You
right.
still read? What about like manga?
My mangas. Well,
Manga.
I'm still reading Hunter x Hunter, but I take that one very slow.
Mm.
I haven't watched that in almost 2 months. But that's because I
Got
watched
it.
the episodes with Ben, and we haven't watched them together. So, tenemos que esperar. You know what I'm saying?
What do you have that you want?
No tenemos que esperar.
We have desires. We what?
We have to wait.
We have to wait. Esperar. I thought for some reason I thought esperar was like aspirations. Sometimes in Spanish you can figure out what a word means because it kind of sounds similar to what it means in English. Thought that might have been one of those times, but
Yeah.
because it does not mean. It means to wish, or what does it mean?
To wait.
To wait. Esperar. Yeah, I guess there's no English relation to that. But sometimes in English class or Spanish class, I was helped along by the fact that some of the words sound the same.
Yeah.
All right.
Like tomate or gato.
Yeah, true. Or that's all I can think of.
All right.
Should I discuss Ghostbusters Frozen Empire now?
Go ahead. Yeah.
All right. So I watched Ghostbusters Frozen Empire at the AMC on Sunday. It was the first time I'd actually been to a movie theater to see a new movie in Chicago. I went to the movies to see It's a Wonderful Life at the Music Box Theater, which was incredible, but I haven't been to see a new movie since I've been here. I went because I spent the last week alone in my dorm in pretty much total social isolation because everyone else was home for spring break. But I decided not to come home for spring break because my parents were visiting me anyways, and I thought it would be nice to have some time to myself, to center myself in this world. And on Sunday night, I think Dad texted me saying that he saw Ghostbusters Afterlife, and then I thought, well, maybe I should go see it too. Might as well. I'm not doing anything. I'm just sitting here. So then I went and saw it spontaneously that very night.
How much did it?
Got a nice bucket of popcorn
How much
and
did
a
the
nice
ticket cost?
Sorry?
How much was the ticket?
I don't know. Let me check.
You got some popcorn too? Any other concessions or just some popcorn?
Popcorn and soda. The ticket was $16.79. Concessions were $20.09. Pretty expensive. But
Pretty
the thing
expensive.
is, since I haven't seen a movie in 6 months, I'm saving money by not paying for like a movie subscription still. So
Sure.
that's good.
That's girl.
I used to play for Regal Unlimited, but then I canceled it.
Yeah, I used to play for AMC A-List, but then I canceled it. So
I would love to go to the movies more often, but it's just hard. Like every time I do, I like doing it, but also
It's true.
there's not a lot of good movies that come out.
It's
But
true.
there are good art movies that I desire to see, but I never planned for it. But
True.
in the future, my ideal life, I would see movies, read books, watch TV shows, all with great regularity. But I'm working on trying to get my life more structured, like you have a highly structured life. I think that's a good base for being like generally comfortable, is if you have a good structure and routine.
Totally.
But anyways, about Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, it was oh, by the way, the opinion I'm going to give is probably just literally what the Red Letter Media review said, because I watched the Red Letter Media review before I saw the
didn't see
movie,
the
so
half
my
bag yet.
opinion was already formed. So none of this is going to be original, or I'll try to be original about it. My thinking about the film was framed by that video, which is they described it very well as feeling more like an episode in the Ghostbusters TV show than a movie. In that it's kind of just like fun and loose and not really. It doesn't make it seem too important. I mean, I guess at the end there is like a big, there is technically the portal in the sky moment, that you see in classic in many movies nowadays, but it did feel like a very small film, and also the universe felt kind of lived in. The first Ghostbusters reboot movie, Ghostbusters Afterlife, took place mostly on a farm in the middle of nowhere. This movie actually took place in New York at the original Ghostbusters firehouse, so it really felt like a Ghostbusters movie, and all the original Ghostbusters were in it. Dan Aykroyd played well, they all played themselves. Sorry, they all played obviously their characters from the original Ghostbusters movie. It wasn't like in the all-female reboot where they played different characters. They were still themselves, but it was like we saw where they were now. Like Dan Aykroyd worked as at like a spiritual shop, like buying like ghost items and stuff like that. And Winston Zeddemore became like a rich businessman, and he's the one funding the whole Ghostbusters operation, and he's like funding this whole team of scientists that are working on better ways to trap ghosts. And Bill Murray just kind of shows up in the movie at a certain point and just says, "Hey guys," and then walks over to he walks over to a little like electrical panel and then like hits it on the side so it opens up, and then he grabs a little pint of whiskey, takes a swig of it, and then he goes, "Let's bust some ghosts," or something. He gives like a little catchphrase, and I'm sure that was real whiskey. I'm sure they just enticed him to show up, and he just did that. Just showed up for like a day, got paid probably like $1 million. But he's funny, and the new generation of Ghostbusters, which are like Harold Ramis's kids, or Egon Spangler's kids, or grandkids, daughter and her sons. They're the new generation of Ghostbusters.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of building their own kind of relationships, and but the character problems that they overcome or solve in the movie are very like, they're not too intense. It's like most of the characters are kind of like made already. The first movie there was a lot more character. The first half of it felt like an indie movie. This one it felt like there wasn't a lot of character growth necessarily. It was just kind of in the Ghostbusters universe, as if it was an episode of a TV show where just fun, exciting stuff is happening, and there's a monster that they fight, and then that's basically the movie. So it wasn't, honestly, I think that it was as good as it could be for being a Ghostbusters reboot. I don't see how it could have been. I mean, I guess it definitely could have been better, but I just feel like they shouldn't have probably made it anyways, but at least they made it in a way that was enjoyable. I mean, obviously they could have done a totally different take on it and totally changed the formula and made a really original thing, but obviously that wouldn't be as profitable, so they really based it and centered it in the already established universe. So there wasn't a lot of creativity and like world building or anything. So for the world that it had to exist in, I feel like it did the best it could. But I gave it 3 stars. And if you like the Ghostbusters, I'd say you'd probably like this movie. It does feel like you're kind of back where they were in like the first original Ghostbusters movie, in the firehouse, and it feels like this. Definitely feels like it's the same universe. It even starts with like the same, like the opening title cards look the same. Like they almost look like they're that film type of grainy title card that pops up. Like they definitely tried to make it feel like the original movies. I only watched Ghostbusters 2 like once when I was little. I don't really remember.
Yeah, I feel like I watched it on Dad's iPad on the way back from somewhere in the back seat. It's like the one time I watched Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah, me too, probably.
Was Paul Rudd in this one?
He was just classic Paul Rudd. Good and funny and charming and likable as always. There was a funny scene. Well, it was funny, but it was also kind of weird. But there was a scene where he started referencing the Ghostbusters song, um, they were having a conversation about like we should quit, like we shouldn't keep doing this or something like that. And then Paul Rudd was like, but who are they going to call if there's something strange in the neighborhood? And he was like quoting the lyrics in like a joking way to his wife. Just weird because it's like, I guess in the Ghostbusters universe, the song itself exists, and the Ghostbusters were like a sensation, and there were toys made after the Ghostbusters in universe, so that's why that song exists in the universe. But they explained that in like the opening montage. But anyways, I think Ghostbusters fans would probably like it, although Dad didn't like it. As long as you understand that it's not going to be the original Ghostbusters. So
Did the RLM crew like it? What was their cynicism level on it?
I actually didn't finish the episode. I watched like half of it, and then I started watching something else. So I don't know their final verdict. I just that they did talk about that being like an episode of TV rather than a full movie. But I didn't hear their final verdict. I think Mike said that it was definitely a bearable movie. Like it wasn't hard to watch. It was one of the Black Void episodes with Rich Evans. One of those happened to be.
I'm sure
So,
it was, yeah.
special version. Any 80s media franchise will always have Rich Evans for a discussion. But that's that. Those are all the movies that I watched this month. I'm free.
Wow. Nice. I've got 2 more still. I can't believe how long this has been going. I thought this would be like an hour. I knew the first one was
Well,
pretty long, but
I thought last episode I didn't ask enough questions, or I wasn't as engaged as I should have been. So this week I'm trying to be more engaged. So probably expanding the conversation in that way. And also maybe I'm explaining too in depth, but what are the 2 TV shows left?
I just have 1 TV show left and 2 movies.
1 TV show.
Well, I just knock out the TV show Bob's Burgers. It's on season 14. They did a break after like the end of 2023, or before the end of 2023, and then they did just 1 episode this month. And I think they're gonna be back again like in 2 months. Sometimes they just do that. They just drop like 1 episode. And I don't really remember this episode. Honestly, it wasn't that memorable. The last one that was really good was when Teddy had to get Bob to come and help him fix his thing in the underground bunker. But yeah, most of the episodes are pretty good. Sometimes they're hit or miss, but for the most part, it's like an 80% good episode, right?
Nice.
Really wholesome, good show. I'll always be watching it as long as they keep making it.
Yeah, it's sort of like
man,
your
I'm
The Simpsons. You can keep on watching it as you grow older, because animated shows can run forever, conceivably, because the actors do not age, because they're drawn.
Yep. Luis has been
Characters don't age.
Gene has been 12 or however long old he is, 10 for the last 14 years. They're just stuck in purgatory.
Yep.
Yeah, good show. I'm really hungry, so I'm gonna try to just finish this. I just started getting it because really painful hunger in my stomach, my stomach. Batman: Mask the Phantasm. Watched this on the 26th of March. Really enjoyed this. This is an original Batman story, not adapted from anything really. It's about Batman's Bruce Wayne's old love with this girl, who he was gonna get married to her, but then things got in the way, and she moved away. And then this masked guy comes in the beginning, and everyone thinks it's Batman, and they are trying to arrest Batman. And Joker's also in it at one point, towards the second half, which is always great. Mark Hamill's really good as the Joker. Love him. Love the Joker. The animation's really great. And this is directly tied to Batman the Animated Series. All the animation's the same. The characters look the exact same. And the
Same universe.
The main song is plays over the intro credits, which I really enjoyed. It's like kind of a more epic version.
Could you do an impression of how Mark Hamill's Joker sounds, just so the audience can understand?
It's hard to do the Batman the Animated Series version, but I can do the Arkham version a lot better. The Arkham version is a lot like this, Bats. Nice of you to say, Bats, but you of all people should know that there's plenty wrong with me. That was from
Nice.
That was from Arkham City. The Batman the Animated Series Joker sounds a bit younger, a bit more. Yeah, it's hard to do. It's good. It doesn't have that rasp that the Arkham version does. The Clown Prince of Crime.
Nice.
Without Batman, crime has no punchline. I just watched that one recently. The Man Who Killed Batman. Joker gets really mad at this guy that he killed Batman, even though Batman didn't really die. He was mourning Batman's death.
Wow.
Because without Batman, what's Joker's purpose?
Yeah, as the Joker says in The Dark Knight, no, I don't want to kill you. I need you.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that?
Yeah. I tell you, I don't care about any other superheroes besides Batman. The more I think about it, his whole entire universe and all the themes and everything, just fucking great. I really could not care less about Superman or anything in the Marvel anymore. They really know what they're doing, because they're really tempting me to keep watching Marvel stuff. Number one with the Deadpool trailer, and then with the poster that they came out for with Fantastic Four. They're really doing their marketing well, because it really looks like a fun movie from that just one poster they posted.
The Fantastic Four movie or Deadpool?
Fantastic Four, yeah. The Deadpool trailer looks really fun, and the Fantastic Four poster looks really fun.
Let me look it up here on the internet.
And they have Tom Wamsgans in Deadpool 3.
This poster that says Happy Valentine's Day with all the...
Yeah, the kind of card animated. Really
yeah, nice. I think I've noticed is a kind of a new trend, like a sort of a retro revival for poster design.
Mm-hmm. I'm all for it. I love that aesthetic.
Yeah, true, me too. But it could be a manipulative tactic, and the movie's not actually good. But who knows?
Definitely is. It'll just be mid. It'll just be the same thing. It'll be green screens. Every scene's green screen. They're standing around a studio. They're just quipping.
Yeah, it's interesting. They keep on making Fantastic Four movies, and I feel like none of them have been good. But maybe this one will be good.
Yeah. I mean, I trust Marvel Studios to at least make it decent.
True.
I'd much rather watch the Batman 2 or Joker 2. Fully, I do. Much more interested in the Batman universe and James Gunn, what he's doing. Don't really care too much about James Gunn's super.
Did you ever see Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3?
Yeah, I did. I loved it. It's the last great.
I loved
Marvel
it too.
Movie. I was almost crying.
Definitely a good vegan animal activism movie.
Yeah, I was almost crying when Rocket saw Lila in heaven.
I was definitely crying.
Yeah, that was really
almost crying right now, thinking of sad baby Rocket Raccoon, so innocent and pure,
and teeth.
Making friends with the other genetically modified animals.
Yeah, that was really a great movie. James Gunn is so much better at Marvel than anyone else. Especially when Rocket clawed at his face, so elating. Felt so much elation. I was like, yes, you piece of shit,
definitely.
Scumbag. I loved it. It's awesome.
For sure.
Movie. Interested to see what he does with the DC universe. And anyway, that's Batman: Mask of the Phantasm. Really enjoyed it. It's kind of just, like I said with the series finale of Extras. It's kind of just it is a movie, but it's kind of just an hyper extended episode of the show itself. So the Batman show is in 4:3, of course, which makes me love it even more. But the film is in slightly unwider. What's thicker? Slightly thicker cinematic ratio. I don't know what you call that one. It's like the cinematic
wider?
bar.
You mean wider?
It's not wider because it's thicker. Wider is thinner, is bigger bars. It's super thin bars at top and bottom. I'm not sure. It's not cinematic, but
like almost 16:9, but not quite.
Yeah, it's like tiny little strips top and bottom.
I see.
Almost 16:9. Anyway, but yeah, it was very enjoyable. Lastly, I watched has the recommendation for the month. And I watched this. I was holding it off. I didn't want to watch it jump into it, watch it right at the beginning because I wouldn't remember for the episode. So I watched this just yesterday, and I really enjoyed it. I was really enjoying it a lot the whole way through. It's really cracking up for a lot of it. I've never seen anything from Mutant Ninja Turtles. Never done anything with them. So wasn't too sure if I was gonna like this, but I really enjoyed it. The animation was really, really cool. I liked how they had both 2D and 3D, especially like the buses, like their headlights would be like just lines, but then it would be like the camera would turn and the lines would stay good. It was really good animation. Not like in Futurama where they try to do like a 3D turn and it starts to look weird for that little bit. But anyway, yeah, it was really cool. Seth Rogen made a good movie. The kids were really great. They hired some good kids. Felt like they were doing a lot of improv, doing the bacon, egg, and cheese, all that stuff.
True.
I think it'll probably be a bit dated after a few years. They're saying Riz and talking about TikTok and everything. So 10 years from now it'll be a bit dated, but don't really care. I enjoyed it in the moment. It's very funny seeing the turtles say Riz, and of course, I loved it when they went and saw Ferris Bueller. Of course, it was very cool. I really liked
Early into the movie.
Yeah, I really liked the art. It was just the film itself, but then all the cartoon characters were watching it, and the projection, the light from the screen was kind of like just lines coming off of the actual movie. It was really, really neat. And then the cardboard cutouts he had too of all the Chris's, Chris Pratt and Chris Pine, that Splinter had, or Splinter, yeah. And it looks like they're setting up a sequel.
Sorry. What?
It looks like they're setting up a sequel. They had an after credit scene. I'm sure they already knew it was going to be a hit when they released it. Very, very fun, enjoyable movie. So if they make a sequel, which I'm sure they will, I'll definitely check it out. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was going to say I'm definitely enjoying this new trend in animation of moving away from the hyper realism and to more creative ways of animating things.
Absolutely.
Because I think the whole benefit of animation is that you can do fun, crazy things like that. You shouldn't be. It's weird to be focusing on trying to be hyper realistic. Although Pixar movies are obviously really awesome, and the animation is also really awesome in them too. But I love the new style of animation or not even new style, not even one new style, but just that they're kind of innovating on new ways to convey like animated 3D things.
Absolutely.
And I pretty much agree with everything you said about it. I think it's a really good movie, and I think the turtles really feel like real teenagers. I think they incorporated that slang because they really wanted to make it feel like authentic, and so it definitely worked. And are those all the movies and all the TV shows and all the books?
I had a bit more to say about Ninja Turtles. Just two things. I liked they joking about the milking a lot. They kept bringing that up, and I laughed harder each time. Talking about milking them, and then just that I noticed that April was played by Ayo Idibiri, if that's how you pronounce it. I'm not sure. From The Bear, Sydney. I noticed the way she was talking, like she has this like kind of sarcastic way of like describing what's happening around her. She's like, "There's a cockroach there eating poop. Cool. That's what I'm looking at right now." So it reminded me of Sydney, the way she would talk, and I was like, "Is that her?" And then I looked it up, and it was. And I said, "My actor radar goes off again."
I had the same thought process, but I didn't actually go so far as to look it up. But I was pretty sure it was her.
Nice.
I recognized her voice.
Yeah. I also noticed in the credits, made me laugh. It said it was showing all the actors' names and who they were playing, and then it said, "And introducing Paul Rudd."
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like produced by Seth Rogen.
Yeah, this is like pretty much his project. I think he co-wrote it with a couple of his friends, and then somebody
Makes
directed
sense. Yeah, Seth Rogen.
it. But he's doing good things. He's a cool guy. Seems like.
He's a very good comedy. He's very good at making like compelling, like real heartful comedy movies, like Super Bad and everything.
Good writer for sure. But that's it. We did it. 3 hours and 34 minutes.
All right, ready for the song of the week, and then we can wrap up our podcast. Or song of the month.
Song of the month.
Do you have any guesses on what it's gonna be?
I don't. Should I mute myself like you said last time?
You could try. I don't know if it's. I'm not sure if it will work, but it couldn't hurt. So.
Okay, I'll mute myself. Introducing Zach. Take it away.
Hold on. I'm reading off of a chord sheet here. Okay. All right, ready? Morning. Today's forecast calls for blue skies. The sun is shining in the sky. There ain't a cloud in sight. It stopped raining. Everybody's in a play, and don't you know it's a beautiful new day. Hey, running down the avenue, see how the sun shines brightly in the city, on the streets where once was pity. Mr. Blue Sky is living here today. Hey, Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why you had to hide away for so long. Where did we go wrong? Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why you had to hide away for so long. Where did we go wrong? Hey, you with the pretty face, welcome to the human race. A celebration, Mr. Blue Sky's up there waiting, and today is the day we waited for. Oh, Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why you had to hide away for so long. Where did we go wrong? Hey there, Mr. Blue, we're so pleased to be with you. Look around, see what you do. Everybody smiles at you. Mr. Blue Sky, Mr. Blue Sky, Mr. Blue Sky, Mr. Blue, you did it right, but soon comes Mr. Night, creeping over now, his hand is on your shoulder, never mind, I'll remember you this, I'll remember you this night. Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why you had to hide away for so long. Where did we go wrong? Hey there, Mr. Blue, we're so pleased to be with you. Look around, see what you do. Everybody smiles at you. Ba 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 ba
Yay! Well done, Zach. That was beautiful.
Thanks. I worked on the guitar riff solo there over my spring break. Pretty tricky because you have to do a pull off where you go to do that. You have to do this really quick. Very tricky. Sometimes I'll do it and I'll mess up.
Sounds tricky.
Yep. But you know, I'm getting better at playing the ukulele, so. And all on my cheap $50 ukulele that I got for Christmas like 8 years ago.
Imagine how you would sound if you had a good quality one.
I know. I've got my eyes on the Martin SM something ukulele that's $400. That's what I would upgrade to. That would be like a nice solid, be like a ukulele that Uncle Dennis had, the nice solid mahogany, good wood quality ukulele.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I guess that wraps up this month's episode of.
It doesn't wrap it up.
Oh, what else do we have to do?
Think of what I would have to do.
Oh, you have to give me my recommendation for next week, of course.
Yes,
How could I forget?
For next month, not a week.
Next
Seems
month.
like you're having a hard time readjusting to our rebrand.
I am. I've jumped right back into my mindset of when we were doing the podcast originally. Next month. Yes, next month.
Next month, the month of May, which we will talk about in May. However, you will watch this in April. The film that I will recommend to you is available on Max. So I hope you have that on your TV. It is a French film from 1973. In French, it is called La Planète Sauvage, and in English, it's called Fantastic Planet.
Oh.
And it's one of my favorites. Really awesome animated film.
All right, sounds like a good movie to watch. Yes, we both recommended each other animated films.
Yeah, this one is a very cool animated film. Very cool animation.
Yeah,
style.
even the letterboxd poster art here looks very nice.
Only at
very cool looking art
minutes.
style.
Very short film. Available on Max.
72 minutes, yeah. All right, I can't wait to watch it.
Enjoy. Rolling to pour. Have that on Criterion. Get a couple extras. Anyway, I'm getting some notifications in my ear that my battery is dying, so I've got to wrap this up.
All right, well,
my battery's dying.
If you want to email us, our email is arewecanfilm@gmail.com, which is confusing because that's not the name of our podcast, so maybe we should create a new email, but for now it's arewecanfilm@gmail.com. And that's all I have to say, Kevin. Should we say our signature sign-off phrase now?
That's all I have to say. Say, the bunny will say...
Oh yeah, you should show the Lego, what the Lego progress.
I already did.
You did? Okay.
I finished it. I showed you. See,
oh, you finished it. Okay. I didn't realize that was finished. I thought that was one part of it and that you had other parts to do.
No,
all right. Well, as we always say.
Wait, can you see? You probably can't, but actually that's not Aang. What am I even thinking of? It's not an arrow. Why did I think of the Aang? Oh, I'm thinking of Krillin. Anyway. You've never seen Dragon Ball, so it doesn't matter. But with that, keep your friends close.
And your enemies closer.